North American stock futures pointing to a slightly lower open coming up this morning, coming off that choppy session that we had back on Friday following the jobs report. If you remember, big miss on that jobs number, 194,000 versus 500,000 expected for non-farm payrolls back in September. Investor focus this week will now shift to Q3 earnings season set to get underway midweek. This week we'll get things started with a few of the big banks, Wednesday and Thursday coming up, so we'll talk a little bit about that. We also got an economic growth forecast cut from Goldman Sachs over the weekend for the remainder of this year. 7-year highs for crude oil again this morning, so still worries on the energy side of things. I know here oil prices or gas prices just absolutely through the roof right now. So a few little lingering concerns in the background on the negative side of things. Overall for the week, last week, the Dow up 1.2%. The S&P has now gained 2% overall for this month and is just 3% off all-time highs, if you can believe that. Alibaba shares moving in the pre-market, 5th day in a row to the upside for Baba. We'll look at Netflix. They announced a new Walmart partnership this morning and gave a little bit of a production update as well. It's Monday, October 11th, 2021. TraderTV.live starts now. There we go. That's Embraer, guys. We'll get the quote board up here in a second, but trust me when I say we are slightly lower for the overall futures, but there we go. 0.4 for the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ 0.7 in negative territory. Yeah, Embraer, you can see at the bottom there, Bitcoin having another pretty good day, 4%. Yeah, 3% there for crude oil. We'll talk about that, obviously, but Embraer, now that we've seen it all, announcing a partnership or a new deal with NetJets this morning. So I was seeing if anything was happening, but 2 trades, oh, maybe 3 now for Embraer, up 1.9% there, so not a lot of volume. Hi guys, happy Canadian Thanksgiving to everyone joining us on this side of the border. It is a holiday here in Canada. Hope everyone is doing well on this holiday. We are here. Yes, oh Canada, happy Thanksgiving guys.
Absolutely, and it's starting off interestingly enough on the markets, maybe not necessarily to the upside yet, but you never know how these things can play out. Because that's crazy stories. The Southwest thing, obviously, because we just had a holiday, so you're spending time with family.
Right.
Imagine the scenario, right? Like you have that many canceled flights, people, weddings, travel. It's a horrible story all around, and we'll definitely be looking to trade that. Not all bad news, more good news for Merck as well. So we'll be looking at that, and we get some earnings this week, right? So the banks are going to kink things off. A few other names coming through this week. I mean, they'll probably do really well. Remains to be seen how the market will react to those earnings when they come through. But man, I didn't see this James Bond movie. Apparently it did well, and it's really, really long. So almost 3 hours for James Bond seems a little bit crazy to me, but apparently did okay. So let's see how, I thought AMC would be moving a little bit more, but not too much yet.
Yeah, no, they did. I think they did 56 million versus 60-something million. On the low end was 60. So,
oh, really?
I mean, that's what they said on some station called CNBC. But I don't know. So, anyways, we'll watch that. We're gonna watch AMC, of course, because of that. I thought AMC could have been rocking and rolling today if James Bond hit, but it doesn't look like that did. But we'll wait to see. Like you said, 2.5 hours or more for Bond seems a little bit long, but I don't know anybody that went to see it, so I will have to. I know some people, I haven't spoken to them, so I'll have to see what they thought of it. But hey, look, it's gonna be a fun one. It's Thanksgiving here, so it took me 19 minutes to drive into work today, so I was pretty happy with that. And which is about, that's actually about saving 10 minutes or so on the drive. So that's why I like coming in here on Canadian holidays. And we like being here with you because the markets are open. We're ready to rock and roll. There's a lot happening. And when we came in today, Brendan said, there's actually a lot happening today. And I was like, yeah, because it's kind of a normal day. It's just here in Canada is a Thanksgiving, but it's nice to be on Mondays. You mentioned earnings season coming through, and yeah, banks starting off this week with JP Morgan, WFC. Goldman on Friday, I think, could be the best one.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one. We'll finally get some earnings reports to talk about this week. There we go, the brand new graphic, guys. Here we go. This is the headline this morning that you guys were just mentioning here. Yeah, 56 million at domestic box office, which, as Sean was saying, was at the bottom end of expectations. I also, guys, do not know anyone who went to see this, but I also read that it was a little bit on the lengthy side of things for a Bond film, I guess. I mean, it's his last one, right? It's Daniel Craig's last one, so he has to go out on a high note. But I was also reading on the weekend that he's now the longest Bond, if what I was reading was correct. But that's a pretty good headline.
I don't know. You might have heard me say under my breath. Really, I'm a little bit surprised at that,
Yeah.
because like, you know what though? It's probably
Because I think it's because they're spaced out, maybe.
yeah.
like-
Sean Connery had like the weird like little like a gap, and then he was, and then he wasn't, and then he came back and he did one. So I don't know. Either way, Dan Craig's been a fantastic Bond. I will get this one out of the way because Voyager is on the move. This VYGR, so I am in a position. It turned off of, and you guys were talking about this one in the chat. At least a couple of people were talking about this one in the chat. There was a big $6 level. This is from last week, this stock, couple of big moves up. There was a $6 level on the daily chart here. And then, you come in and you're going to see it fail shy of $6, put in a consolidation lower. So I'm short the consolidation. That was at 570. It's down towards what is now VWAP 560. Just a scalp trading here on VYGR one from last week, so we'll try to take advantage of that. There's a few from last week that might not have made the watch list, but are kind of on the move and looking relatively strong. AEHR is another one, so we'll probably get to that as well.
Yeah, we did talk about that AMC here off of James Bond. I mean, I wrote it down. I actually didn't put it on my sticky note here today, but there are some key levels coming here for AMC. So we'll look at the these 3850s coming through. I actually have a bid right now to go long through 3720. So if we can sort of take out some of these highs right in here on the 20-minute chart, 3720 obviously is right in here. So let's see if we can take some of that out. That's what I'm looking for here on AMC. And yeah, shout out. I think I mentioned to my brother. He mentioned he might be watching. So shout out to you, Michael, if you're watching. And thanks for coming over for Thanksgiving. It was really fun. We provided. What does that even mean? We hosted. Provided. Yeah, we hosted last night. And it was great. Turkey, stuffing, everything homemade. My wife made homemade apple pie and homemade ice cream. So kicked it up a notch right there. So that was really fun. And I hope everybody out there had a good Thanksgiving. If you didn't celebrate yesterday, maybe you're celebrating today. And then, of course, U.S. Thanksgiving. Me, the kids, the family, we're going to Great Wolf Lodge. So they're really excited about U.S. Thanksgiving. But we're here working for you guys today. So let's go over some tickers.
Yeah, I think there's a few people around here this morning with some turkey hangovers on a Monday. But yeah, great weekend. I was just double checking that, guys. It is actually like time, like years. So Daniel Craig's 15 years, which is a few months now longer than Roger Moore. So it's not per movie, it's actually years that he's spent as James Bond. Apple, guys, saw an interesting headline here on Apple this morning. They have officially asked a U.S. judge to pause the Epic Games antitrust order and the whole ruling that came out, I think it was 2 months ago we were talking about this, that came out against Apple. So they've, I guess, asked for a pause to consider maybe trying to offset this a little bit, but Apple not really doing much here.
No, it's not moving too much, and I think ultimately the rest of that suit they did pretty well with in terms of winning out. It didn't seem to matter because we were pulling back in the markets anyways, guys, and Apple's probably going to follow relatively closely. I think if you're going to look for some FANG names that are going to have outsized moves, we're going to obviously talk a little bit about Netflix today because that's on the watch list, and then Facebook has been a bit of a mover as well. Apple does still look appealing when it gets any closer down towards like this. We said sort of pie in the sky, like like 130, 135 numbers as an area last week, and it's certainly a possibility, although it's already bounced in front of it. It's obviously it's obviously a big time go by down at that price, but this doesn't seem to be moving it too far here, and again, probably just dragging out the proceedings for now. And we'll have a look probably at the overall market and Netflix on the FANG game. I think that's going to be a continued mover. It's been so strong, showing some signs of pulling back though.
Yeah, so we sold Apple when this first started, like exactly what you said, Brendan, about a month ago. September 10th, it looks like. This was the day here we started to itch back a little bit here off its previous highs, and then you get that Epic Games news. And just the fact that, you know, they're coming out and saying that they're going to have to put up links and stuff like that, that could possibly take some of the deals away from their app store. So we sold Apple here exactly at 152. It was on this 152 break. So we sold that, we posted that, and I'm looking to buy back. And we should have bought back in at 138. I still think that we test lower. So I still think we can come back to this 138 level. We talked about this last week, you know, where we would be here. And I still think Apple retests somewhere around here, 138, 140. Just because I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it went down enough, to be honest with you here. I mean, we are well below the 50-period moving average. I just think the market, actually right now, it's starting to battle back a little bit. There may be a little bit more pain to come here. Let's just see what happens with earnings season. I mean, very, very hard to predict these things. I think Apple's quarter will be great. But again, I don't know if the market's already sort of pricing in some of these things. So let's just wait to see what happens. I'm more concerned with the fall right now in Facebook. So we will get to Facebook, but if Facebook breaks, it's on the sticky note as well. One of the ideas that we liked, if we break through 326 here, oops, that's still the Apple chart. But if we break through 326, these kind of bottoms that we made on that disaster, you know, whistleblower and things like that, obviously we went down as low as 323. But if we could break here 326, I think that's a spot that's more trouble than Apple.
All right, it was interesting to see Merck shares this morning. When I first sat down, were actually lower in the pre-market here quite a bit. And then that headline came right here, 79.20. We're now up about a full percent for Merck. So here we go. They've officially this morning asked the FDA for EUA on this pill, this experimental antiviral pill that will treat COVID-19. If you remember, going back to this day was the day they released the results from the trial on this drug. So here we go. We finally might be closer to getting this into circulation.
Yeah, which is that obviously that's going to be fantastic news. That might not be helping Southwest right now, but obviously going to be fantastic news. Huge reversal in the daily chart. Well, daily chart. Huge reversal here in the pre-market as it was trading down, right? It gapped through what I was anticipating going to be like an 80 support level on Merck. And then you're breaking through that level, so you can't really use that for a breakout trade. It happened very early in the morning at 7 a.m. And you might get a bit of a dip into that price if this catches any kind of I guess, downward move in the futures, I hope. Well, I shouldn't say I hope, or if you like it in front of 80, which I kind of do, I wanted to be picking up that long using that $80 level. It did close just above that, but I like a floor like this whenever I see, and you can pull it to 15 like this, right? Whenever you see a big move up and then the initial consolidation, or at least the largest consolidation on the news, was right up here just above that 80 mark. And then you have 80 hold out throughout the week. We were gapping down below it. The positive news takes us above. I think that's where we've got a little bit of a floor. No obvious breakouts that stand out unless you get back up to like 82.5. So I'm going to be sitting trying to get long in front of that 80. I like that support level. If that holds today, I think there's almost a decent chance you're hitting that 85 this week or maybe in the next couple of days. So fantastic news for Merck. It could mean Moderna. I don't know if this is going to be this news here is the reason why Moderna might slide, but its chart showing some signs of cracks as well. That 92, 93 area on Moderna, if that gets broken, I mean, you're heading to 280. And then from there, there's just, on Moderna's chart, there really isn't much of any support until you get to the low 200s.
Yeah, Moderna's going to be in trouble. We talked about shorting that through 320, and that was a good trade that day, and looks like it'll be followed through as well. We talked about buying Eli Lilly last week, and I mean, it's already just so far upside here, 225, 230. Now you're up to 235 right now, just breaking out of some levels here on Eli Lilly. It looks like we've sort of made this little handle cup here. We'll wait to see if it takes out right now, 240. It looks like it's going to do that today. So I really, really like Eli Lilly here. This is a name that I got to buy at some point. It was on the shopping list. It still is on the shopping list. And if it get back into this 220 area, I like a lot of the drugs that are in the pipeline here. And really, really like Eli Lilly on any sort of a pullback. So we'll see today if it takes out this I mean, how high did we get there on Friday? Let's just double check this quickly here. So, okay, so we're already up today nicely, but That was 235. So we pull back into 235. I think there could be something there on the 1 minute. I mean, there's no volume here. It's only 199,000 shares. With that being said, let's look over at the imbalance locator just quickly. We haven't got to BABA yet, but I believe it's next. They're coming up anyway, some of the Chinese names. So we have Alibaba there up to 170 today. Wowzers, just taking off and continuing to go higher. So that's fantastic. UiPath here on the sell. We don't have anything with them, but they're right at $50. So maybe that's a level that we should be talking about as well. And then on my sticky note as well, follow at Trader TV Sean. You can definitely get the sticky note from there. XOM is on my sticky note. I think it's way overdone to the high side, and we'll talk a little bit about that when we talk about oil, Brendo.
Yeah, highest level since October of 2014 for crude oil this morning. Yeah, we're going to get to Alibaba, some of the other Chinese names, but I want to mention XPeng here because interesting headline this morning for XPeng specifically. So Tesla taking 12 years, thanks for CNBC for this headline, 12 years to build 100,000 cars. Both XPeng and NIO have now done that in half the time. So XPEV up 0.9% here, officially crossing the 100,000 mark. I guess it was over the weekend for them on the production side.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything away from XPeng. But at the end of the day, if you are second, third, fourth, fifth,
yeah, I mean, it's already, the blueprint was already there.
The blueprint's already going to be there for you. So it's not really to take anything away from XPEV. But again, it is what it is. It's a good number. I think we've slept on this stock at times, and usually the moment that we're sleeping on it is when NIO's in the news, or maybe they both have delivery numbers. And then most of that is because as day traders, you look for liquidity and volume, and NIO just tends to always have more of it. But this stock is kind of making its own run as well. It's trying to make a bit of a breakout here, trying to get through like a 39.40 area. There is some consolidation, which is going to set you up for potential breaks in the event that there's some strength today. We're looking moderately strong in this name relative to the market. There's no volume in XPeng in the mornings because it never really does pre-market volume. But it does set up here. If you get this nice little wedge forming, there could be a break on volume. If that does come in, I don't know if it'll be today because that just doesn't seem like that big of a catalyst to me. But I mean, who knows? It's a bit of a tidbit. We'll see. It definitely should be on the radar. You look at this 39 level. It probably just has to consolidate further before you get that break, or just catch some other kind of positive wind, or maybe just rides the coattails of a Tesla move, something along those lines. But XPeng, it looks interesting here. I mean, I'll probably lean into NIO. Usually is the one you want to day trade. Although I'll say this. It should be said that when you have stocks that do less volume, sometimes breakouts can be almost a little bit better, like that initial push, because there's less liquidity, right? So when it breaks a key level, it might go a little bit further initially, but then the other side of that trade is there's no free lunch. It means there's less opportunity to get shares on the break. So it's a double-edged sword there with a name like XPEV, and it's also pretty whippy at 930, another reason why we don't lean into it. But yeah, it is forming pretty well, looking for a potential break at that 39. Just not really seeing enough reason to get there. And NIO usually a little more exciting.
Yeah, normally we trade NIO. You can see here, NIO's already made some nice bottoms. I mean, congratulations people that believed in some of the Chinese trade. I know Shakib is on the chat all the time talking about China. I mean, I'm talking about China as well. I didn't get any money in near these bottoms, but Baidu has been a good one off the bottom. So is JD. We talked about JD, and I think NIO as well can do the same thing, as electric cars are going to be all the rage if they're not already. I mean, I don't know exactly the environment in China, but I mean, I think that's kind of a BS headline. I mean, we're talking about it because these stocks move, and I think it's something that we all care about. But like we said, I mean, just because you doubled half the time of Tesla, I mean, demand is way different now than it was when Tesla was ramping up production, and obviously capital requirements and things like that are much, much different. And then plus they have the money from the markets, NIO and XPEV. So we'll just wait to see here. 36, 37. I mean, I think taking this out is huge. I mean, if we can just take out 37, 37.50 or something like that on NIO, I mean, we're up to 36 already. This should be a good trade here. The 20-minute chart, you're right at the top. So if this market turns positive, which, you know, it could do. I don't think it will, but we'll see. It could turn positive. You know, you get a break here of 36.50, 36.60, I think goes. So, you know, we'll average in to the bottom here if we can. This is a big bottom, though, $33. I don't think we get back to there. If we close 35.80, Again, we didn't have the greatest close on a lot of these tech stocks there on Friday coming, especially on NEO, coming back in there to this bottom level. But look, we held the bottom there on the close on Thursday. That's 36. We held the bottom again, 36. I mean, it's 35.80. But we held these bottoms here on closes back-to-back days. So I'm thinking that if we can retest into this area, we'll probably give it up and then somewhere in here. So I'm a buyer back down here, 35.40. I'm going to put a Hail Mary bid and see if we get picked up at 9.30. Hopefully we do. If the market absolutely crashes, then I want to make sure I'm out of the way because you have to rebuild these positions. I'm not taking NEO on any kind of breaks. I like to build it back here to 35.50 or so. If that cracks, then really great. But I still think, remember, I said you can start buying, the first week in October. So that's come and gone. So let's see what happens now. We did have a little bit of a swoon in the market last week. We'll see if it continues. Well, I mean, it was a good last week, but a couple days dip down. We'll see if we have a couple more of those. And the next sort of big flush, I think we're buyers. And I don't have a problem buying NEO if it could get back to 33.
All right, bit of a merger Monday. Worth noting, guys, a number of deals to talk about this morning. We should also mention cryptocurrencies also moving this morning. We saw some of the stocks as well in the pre-market higher as a result. So here we go, 3 deals. Protagonist Therapeutics is not actually a deal. There was one announced recently, but this is FDA. But anyways, Aspen Tech, $11 billion deal with Emerson. Flexion Therapeutics as well, up on this merger with Pacira, whatever you want to call it, Biosciences. Neil, you want to talk about those?
So with 2 of them, at least with ADMS and then Flexion here, FLXN, both have contingent value rights, which means, so in Flexion's case, it's like an $8.50 deal. There's an $8 contingent value right, which essentially means if a certain drug, and I always bungle these, so I won't even try to say it. It gets all approvals and does well. Then you're going to get, I think it's an $8, up to $8 value rate in the future. So that cash value of $8.50, it's not meaningless. It does usually put a bit of a floor on the stocks. I don't know if there's going to be any actual activity here other than your normal sort of range-bound trading. It seems like it's a little bit strong right now, sort of pricing around $10 currently, and there is a little bit of stability. So I'd watch out. For this one actually could move a little bit because an $8 contingent value rate, everyone's going to be figuring out what they think that one's going to be worth. And then a similar thing is with that ADMS. It's $8.10 and it's got a $1 contingent value rate depending on how a certain deal goes. So, every time I look at those, if it trades above the cash value, I tend to put that in as a bit of a floor psychologically. Like if Flexion gets anywhere near that $8.50, I think that's an opportunity to buy it because that's a very, very large right. Usually you don't see the same cash value it reflected in the contingent value right. Whereas ADMS seems relatively weaker, trading below that $8.10, despite the fact that it has a $1 CVR there. So that's what you want to look at there. It's more along the lines of not wanting people to look at a gapper and think they can apply the same rules that they would just by looking at the chart. No, you got to throw that out the window because it's a cash deal and it's got its own structure to it. So if you see me in Flexin, it's probably because it's come down into the $8.50 to $9 range, and I want to be long it. But it really wouldn't fit into the structure of the other trades that we do. This would be more of just an M&A type of trade.
You know what I was looking at here that it's not on our watch list today, and I feel like maybe it should be because
always.
It's not going to stop. It's and this CEI. So I mean CEI here. We traded it. I didn't trade it much on Friday afternoon, but we really traded in the morning. We had top wick there, and then we had the bottom wick before it absolutely collapsed. So this was a fantastic trade early on CEI. And just to bring everyone's attention, you're still at 8 million shares. So this thing's still going to pop. Still going to do probably 400 or 500 million. I don't know. That's what it's been averaging. So we'll wait to see if it does that. And you have this area where we've gone up and down a little bit there. We traded in the afternoon or early afternoon on Friday. I still like this area here, 190. We get a break on 190 for CEI, then we could probably start to head to the upside. If not, let's see if we get some more resistance at 150 to the downside. But right now, CEI, we'll see if we can have to pay for shorts, but this is a name that Camber Energy still wants to go, I feel like. 20-minute chart, I mean, the big flush down to $1 here. We all know about that, 80 so cents, and then, you just take a flyer. Even if you took a flyer at $1 here, the very next day you woke up and it went to $1.85. So that's like 80 80% right there. And you're saying, okay, well, I didn't take that 80%. Okay, well, fool's on me, right? Maybe it won't go any higher. Bang, the very next morning, up to $2.40. So, profit taking all in here makes a lot of sense, but then you stabilized. So, I mean, this is hopefully a lot of you guys taking profit from somewhere in here. If not, I think we may get another chance today to do that, especially if you get this $2 break, 190 break on the high side as well. So I don't want people to forget about Camber Energy. I mean, we had people tweeting at us and saying, I wish there was a Camber every single day, right? And I think that as long as it's here, it's still here. So we'll watch out for Camber Energy. I don't think this is the next AMC ripping up to $40, $80, things like that. But we'll wait to see what happens with Camber. And I think there's more of a chance for it to move today, especially off this 190 break. So we're not too far away from there right now, Brendo.
Right. Crazy volume the past couple of days in CEI. Here we go. Analyst moves for today, guys. AXP on here, top of the list. Barclays, HubSpot. There's Netflix. And there's Lilly as well. Berenberg upgrading Lilly today. Netflix as well. Credit Suisse, we'll talk about that on this side of the board. Big C to the downside. Charter Communication. I don't know why I like that so much, but Magna and ExxonMobil. Worth mentioning COP as well. Conoco also with a downgrade today, guys.
Big C. Why not? I mean, I'm not going to. Every time that company comes up, I drop a line from Dr. Seuss, so I'm not going to do it again here today. If only because American Express, man.
I can't believe we didn't buy AXP down there.
Yeah, well, that's exactly. So remember when American Express got like.
It was the one I was saying to buy. Damn it.
It's a frustrating one because you're essentially sitting here. And I don't know that it's going to break out the top today. Certainly we'll have some earnings coming through, and we'll see what happens the rest of the week. But this consolidation is setting up for a top break, and you want to see what's relatively strong, right? Like this is what it's all about here. And American Express. I mean, it's one of those non-super sexy companies that doesn't always come to the front of your mind. But when you get a chance. When everybody else is sort of piling in on it, and that's essentially what happened when it got down to that 160 level. And then you had the bad print, relatively bad print on earnings. Those are two dips that are almost too good to be true. At this particular point, I'm kind of looking at this and saying, well, let's sign up for the day that this 179 gets taken out. For now, you're looking at lower highs. They keep putting in here, and in a weak market, do I think it's taking out the lower high, 177 here? It might try if we turn positive on the session, but if you got to wait for it, the one day this 179 is coming, and it does set up pretty well. Especially you see the higher lows being put in. It's a strong-looking chart, but it just goes to show like. If you like a company and you see some levels that are in there, sometimes nibbling in is the way to do it. It worked out for me because I know I did it with Uber, and I felt like I bought too early. But at least if it had gone right away, I wouldn't be sitting with nothing. And that can happen sometimes. I mean, if Alibaba, I got in probably too early. But again, if you like something, then sometimes you've got to look at that weakness when everybody else is sort of panicking and picking it apart. Well. If you're convicted with it, that's exactly your opportunity to be buying at least something into it. Right now with American Express, I don't see a trade because it does no volume pre-market and there's no catalyst, but watch out for 179 breaking in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, especially with earnings coming. So, I mean, American Express is going to be soon. One stock that doesn't really need too many earnings, I guess, is going to be Affirm, still upside. Again, 141, 142. So, Affirm's been great buys from the bottom. But remember, we're just kind of back to its all-time highs because we did IPO right here, and that was back in January. So, it's still a relatively new stock. Affirm, just going to have its birthday coming up pretty soon in the new year. But it started out at 90. It ripped all the way to 140. Just to give you guys this idea here, 145, 150, like in this range, that's where we stopped. So 140 up to 148 there. But then all of a sudden, of course, now they get that deal with Amazon, and we know that hit right about here, 70. We wake up the next day, it opens at 90, fades back in, and then bang, right to the upside. This is a day right here. It comes in, fades back down to 105, and then continues to go up. So this is the Amazon deal right here. And it's pulled back in. That was another gift to buy it right there last couple of days. They had that deal now with Target as well. I think Affirm just continues to move higher. It's part of the reason why I bought PayPal. They went in and bought Paybe, I believe, which is I think it was an Indian buy now, pay later firm. So we'll wait to see here with Affirm. They got the big deal with Amazon and now with Target. And it seems like they're rocking and rolling. And even Trader Pratt brought up a good point, and that was like, some of his friends and just people that maybe are a little bit younger age or whatever, or just don't have the money up front, or they want to get interest free, which I like. So why not use a firm anyways? But are they interest free? I don't even know. I haven't even really used it. I'm sure there must be some small fee to doing this.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but
yeah. So I don't know. It makes a lot of sense to me. And what I was getting at is buying higher end items, right? Better TVs, better computers, gaming systems, especially with Christmas coming. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people doing this option, and so I think a firm's next report is going to be monstrous. I think they'll guide higher. I think Christmas time should be good for a firm. So yeah, I'm a buyer of a firm if we come back into these areas here, 133, 135, even taking out the top. Whenever you get a stock breaking out of all-time highs as well, sometimes worth testing, right? Because if a firm takes out this 146, now I don't know if it does it today, but it could. If it takes out that 147, which it looks like is 52-week highs, then that's a go spot for me. I mean, it has tons of momentum. The chart looks beautiful. It's supported on pullbacks. Now, again, you don't want to buy 147 and say your out is going to be 110 here, because that may hit and then you would get out. But I think it's worth, just like it's worth nibbling sometimes on the way back in, this might be worth nibbling on the way up, because a firm just has so much momentum right now to the upside. I think there's going to be a better report, and we'll just see what happens. So I don't know what's going to happen today, but as we get close to these highs, I kind of like this name.
All right, let's bring in Arun here, and we'll get a check of the overall market, see what we need to be aware of heading into a brand new week. We're negative, but not a heck of a lot here. Arun, what are you looking at?
Well, Friday was interesting. Jobs report comes out and the market goes absolutely quiet. So now here we have an overnight move that's actually going to open things up, which kind of, as traders, we love to see that. So what I'm thinking is, after we consolidated so much on Friday and we broke down aggressively, I'm thinking we've got a decent action above us here going into these mid 85s, 43.85 into the 43.90 area. So I'm looking for some potential shorts with the 43.90 stop. It all depends on how it moves. It has picked up some buying recently in the last half an hour or so, 45 minutes or so. So I'm going to kind of slow play this and see how much resistance we can get before I decide to go for the short. If this thing actually picks up to the buy side with more volume, then I just step away and let it go. But I am looking for potential shorts here in this previous support zone from Friday. So 43.90 would be the level I'd use to the upside. And of course, if we pass that, it kind of makes things a little bit more difficult, because then the next level I would use would be the high from was it the 7th? So it'd be Thursday. 44.25 would be the level above that. We'll get to that when we get to that. That's a whole mess, and you got to figure out how to trade that probably above 4,400 and find the setups and whatnot above that. But primary right now, it's going to be 43.90. Hopefully we can get a nice little setup in the next 10 points or so. To the downside, that I don't really have a whole lot of levels to work with. There's nothing until we get down below 4,300. So I'm not sure what to do. If we were to break downside, I'm not sure what I could do for longs. I would just be chasing after shorts or looking for shorts anyways. There's one possible trade I'm seeing right now. This would be the short that I'm looking for. If we don't get that short, then we're going to have to let this market play itself out and see how the market trades, and then maybe step into some trades after the levels have developed after the open. But for now, one potential trade with 43.90 as your stop.
Great stuff. Thanks, Arun. We'll check back in again tomorrow morning. Just looking at Fubo TV deal announced here, guys, with AT&T. Sportsnet Rocky Mountain announces distribution agreement. So Fubo just popping up here. This is obviously not the first agreement of this kind for them, but I mean, we're trying to get back above some key levels here, guys. What do you think of Fubo here on this?
Yeah, it definitely piques the interest. It's not doing a ton of volume on that headline, but it's already put in a bit of a bottom recently here. 22. This is a stock that's actually interesting to me. It's sort of looking at some names that have gotten beaten up recently, or I shouldn't say that recently, but that have put in those big hard rejections from the top, and beaten up by 50% retracement, 70%, those types of names, and that are finding their way to some higher lows. And I think at least Fubo TV is doing a little bit of that. They have the integration with, I guess, their betting with a platform, which I think that's an interesting product for them, and I think that's going to be a good catalyst for them on the revenue side. It remains to be seen if it's going to get that push in the stock price just yet. But even looking at it right now, just this consolidation above that previous low, 24.5. Trying to make a bit of a break here on the news. I just wish there was more volume here, because if this was on volume, like if we had a few 100,000 shares behind this. I don't know if you guys can see, like you can't even tell the pre-market volume. It's basically normal pre-market volume from what I can tell looking at my chart. Despite that news coming through, well, you'd have a shot at this breakout, 25.65 or 25.70. So there's a name that I was considering adding to the shopping list just because I like that whole integration with online betting through their platform. That made some sense to me, and I can see why that would be good for them. But I don't know. If there was volume here, there'd be a little bit more to it. Just hard to dig in on this one. Doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Speaking of going somewhere, CEI just broke down a little bit, sort of taking out a pre-market level. Got to watch that one for volume. But 155 is going to be a support that I'll be interested in. And of course, 193 and $2. If you're watching Trade of the Day from last week, we like those levels as well.
Yep, and I want to talk quickly about Clover, just talking about some stocks getting off the bottom there like Fubo. People talking about skills as well. Clover had some nice announcements last week. I mean, although I have no idea what they mean when Chamath was tweeting out that they had gone from 3 up to 3.5 rating or stars or whatever it was. So I just think that Clover right now is getting close. My options will probably expire out of the money, so it doesn't really matter. $9 for Friday, but we'll see here. Look at this. We're getting close to the 50-period moving average. And again, it just kind of looks like, and I've been picking some stock up, so if the options don't work, that's fine. We're buying shares down here. We just started to buy them down near this $7 mark. We bounced off 7 a couple times. It looks like Clover has a chance to go as well. I mean, this was kind of meme craze. You can see when the volume picks up, you do get some of these bumps. Like this day, we bumped all the way to 10 and then closed right at 8. So, there are big volumes on some of these days to the upside, and then not crazy volumes to the downside. So we did have a nice little volume pick up there the last couple of days, all positive here on Clover. So I'm looking to go long on Clover here today as well. So actually that's on the sticky note, or no, it's not. I actually tweeted it out afterwards. But I like Clover here, breaking this 810 or so area. So we have, I believe, yeah, we do. 810 break, we have a bid out there to go. So if that can happen, then we will take Clover. Yeah, I mean, we did talk about skills a little bit there. I have to do some more work on skills. Most of these stocks here need to show before I go, right? And what I mean by that is like, let's just wait to see, come on, chart. Let's wait to see what happens on the earnings for a lot of these names. I mean, it's just been, this is not great momentum here. So if you're thinking about picking some up, sure, you're getting a 20% discount from last week when it was $10. Now you're down to $8. And it's just, I'd rather buy, I mean, this just reminds me of a PaySafe or even like a Clover, but I don't know if we found a bottom here. I mean, if you thought the bottom was at 12, you might have been right there picking some up, but then it started to go all the way down to 10s, and then we got back to 12 and got hit again, back to 10s, and then we got to sort of 12 again here, guys, and then right back now down to $8. So, as skills is going, I think this has been really beat down. More due diligence going to have to happen on this. But if they come out with a good report, and we'll have to double check their short interest. But, if this name, just like Fubo, they can beat. But unlike Fubo, this is the thing, like Neil was talking about some key levels there on Fubo, like I just don't see them on skills yet, right? And so like right in here, you can say, okay, we've tested 22, 24 here, 24, 20, and then you made a nice little bottom. So maybe now it's time to cup up here to $33, $34, right? I don't see that in a lot of these other names. So that's why I'm looking for that. And that's why I really like Clover here. I think that to me, almost, it's just, there's too many bottoms here. 7 and change. I mean, this to me looks good. And if it breaks below, then yeah, you're holding the bag, but that's investing. And I think that there are some opportunities here, especially in a healthcare spot where I'm not too long any healthcare names. I think Clover is the one that I like. I'm going to keep buying dips.
Quickly further on that Fubo headline, guys, this deal is going to include coverage of Utah Jazz, Vegas Golden Knights, and Colorado Rockies as well to stream on their platform going forward. So heads up on Fubo today. Let's get into what is moving around, guys, in the pre-market. If you haven't done so yet, that's the link you need to go to grab the morning watch list. Absolutely free for you. Every single day we come on at 8:30. We send that out just before we come on. Let's talk about Alibaba, guys. 5 days in a row off the bottom here for Alibaba. It was about 2.5% when I checked early on this morning. But this all started last week. Remember, we learned that Berkshire Hathaway's vice chair, Charlie Munger, had doubled his position. There was also some positive momentum between the U.S. and China for those relations.
Congratulations. Now, I don't know where Charlie had the long from before, but
Probably 300.
well, this is what I was going to get. It's like I mean, doubling, who knows? How much did you have? What price did you have? I mean, if you're holding the bag on this one, I'm glad that he doubled up. We look back to this, and the chart will eventually fill in and say that there was a 130 level, if you go way, way back, that to me, I thought could have been a floor for this move. It ends up bouncing a little bit higher, so I was never able to add to it because I was sort of looking in between, like this is about 147, 150, down to this 130 area, technically 128, and I thought that somewhere down here would be a place to add. It barely dips into that range last week and then runs. And this is sort of the problem, is when you would have been looking for it, like after this day, it's like, oh yeah, look at the consolidation. Typically, it's like, okay, well, it opens down around that low 140. That's kind of like the place to add. Probably should have been a day early on it. It doesn't really matter. This is an unbelievable run during the week, but look at how many times it was just monster gap up. You get a bit of a break. And there's just these big gaps to the upside without any true pullback. Like Friday had a bit of a pullback, but this just does not want to come down at this particular moment. It's high flying. There's a lot of interest. Reddit's been on this one as well, so it has some of that type of momentum going into the name. It does make it pretty tricky for the day trade. Because if I look at a week like that without a pullback and then another monster gap up into a weak market, and my gut is just telling me find your way to a short, but you can't be too stubborn with this because you know what you're fighting against, and it's just unbelievable momentum. It's still so far removed from super significant levels into the upside that all I could say is if it tries to hold this 171 area, like maybe it's worth a bit of a short. I was looking at the 167 for a potential dip buy, if only because that's a 50 period. And that even seems pretty shallow here, but that's going to be the first look. If it gives you that 930 play where somehow magically 171 holds, then look for a bit of a short opportunity down to that 167 area on Alibaba where, I don't know, maybe the 50 period holds, maybe it doesn't. I think the stock is trading a little bit of ways away from the technicals given the type of momentum that it's had in the last week, which is fantastic if you're long. I just wish I'd been able to add to it, but timing any of these Chinese names has been, quite frankly, impossible, unless you knew that Charlie Munger was going to come out and say that last week.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too, Sam, and to everybody out there that's celebrating Thanksgiving today. If you're not, happy Thanksgiving anyways. Have some turkey and what is it, tryptomorphin or something that they have in there where it makes you go to sleep. Tryptophan? Something like that? I don't know.
I call it something, no, I can't say.
With the itis? But that happens all the time, right? So, okay, look at FXI. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 straight days, 5 straight days. Actually, I missed this little one there. Coming off the bottoms here, and this is the Chinese. Of course, this is the iShares Chinese large cap ETF. So, yeah, there it is. Tryptophan. Okay, thanks, Mike. Yeah, that's right. So right there, 41, 42, 43, still going to the high side. The best part about Thanksgiving here is the leftovers. So I strategically put aside the drumsticks there. So, good. I like the dark meat, baby. Once you go dark meat, you never go back. Is that what they say?
Well, I mean, it's still something else, but.
Yeah. So, all right. So we'll watch that. But I prefer, actually, you know what? The turkey was so moist. It was unbelievable. Even when I was cutting it, I thought it was underdone. That's how moist it was. So, the wife killed it.
Lucas is dying over there, by the way. Like, Lucas can barely contain himself. I don't know. We amuse ourselves sometimes, but.
Well, I mean, look, I could sit here and talk about stocks, or we could make it.
My mouth is watering.
We're here to make this a little bit interesting at some point, I can't just be here for my good looks because then I wouldn't be here. 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. I just think that you can share some of the wealth here on FXI. You can get some Tencent, you can get some JD. I really like JD. I mean, I'm the biggest supporter of BABA, so there's no doubt about that. We've talked about BABA a couple times over and over again. I didn't buy anything at the bottom, so I guess I'm not that big of a supporter. Waiting for a little bit of a pullback down for Alibaba, then we'll be loading up the boat. We did miss the bottom, that's fine. We've been picking up some other names, as you know about. Just didn't want to have more exposure in BABA. I'm already pretty exposed to that, so we'll just wait to see where that goes. But JD, again, similar off these bottoms. Like, how good did 70 hold? 70, 70, 70. Of course, we had, hell break loose on these Chinese names, but 70, 70, 70. a great spot for JD. So I'm a buyer of all of these names. If they can come back in a little bit, I think they've shown strength. We know the technology is there. We know the fundamentals are there on some of these names. However, there are the macro issues that weigh over them from the CCP and just from gap accounting and things like that. We'll just wait to see what can come through with this. But I mean, I'm a supporter of some of these Chinese names if we pull back. I think we've gone a little bit too far, too fast here, based on Charlie Munger and based on, I don't know, maybe Biden and President getting together there. I don't know where they're going to do it, over Zoom or whatever, but hopefully some sort of a trade deal or just some good, we remember when Men Wang, I believe it was, Men Wen Wong, something like that, from Huawei there, Neil, got released. That was a big olive branch, I feel, and that was just like last week there. So, you did have a big bump up there, and I think that some Chinese names need to be bought.
All right, let's go to Netflix here, guys. Up 0.4 in the pre-market. We saw Credit Suisse there with the upgrade for Netflix. Financial Times coming out saying on the weekend that, quoting a source, that they are on track to deliver, what was the quote? Steady pace of programming through the end of 2022. Take that for what it's worth. There's the whole Squid Games angle here as well. Q3, Q4 subscriber growth now expected to be better than expected for Netflix.
So I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I finally finished Squid Game. And Sean and I were talking earlier. I have some thoughts about the way that it ended, and anyways, we won't get into that. DM me if you love that stuff, because I love talking about this kind of stuff. But the thing about Netflix is interesting level that it's starting to put in at this 6. I'm looking at 630 now. I know it has a bit of a low here at 626. That was a bit of a wipeout bottom. It was like a flush out right in the morning before it broke out. And now you have a very, very clean 630 low. It's trying to make some fresh highs. We did a video talking about some FANG stocks that are looking pretty good to be bought, and Netflix overall strength. The fact that it had lagged for a really long time, sort of barcoding in a tight range for the better part of 6 to 8 months before finally breaking out and holding support at the bottom end of that range. That puts it squarely in the category of relative strength. It's breaking through highs. It was breaking through highs when the market was pulling back from them, something that we like to see there. But I look at this 630 level and say, oh my goodness, if it can't hold that on a negative day, you might have a bit of a breakdown trade. And it's a couple of days in a row now. It's got this weird barcode thing going on here, so I did check in to see if there's some kind of an iceberg. I don't know what's up with 635.44, but I don't really see anything too crazy. It's just really low pre-market volume, I think. But 630 that's the big level. If that doesn't break, I think you have a decent shot to be testing higher. But given the fact the market, well, I guess it was looking weaker than it is right now. I was looking at that 630 and said to myself, if that level were to go, I think you could have at least a little bit of a pullback. But that's just an opportunity to pick up some Netflix in the longer term. But I just look at that top and say to myself, hey, decent chance after this consolidation. If it were to break down, then you could have at least a little bit of an actionable dip. Reverse certainly holds true though. But I would ignore the pre-market prices, at least for now, because the volume is so low. So look more at your 15 and your daily chart.
Yeah, so we're going to have to, here on the sticky note right here, we do have it. It's one of the first ones. First of all, happy Thanksgiving to all Canadians and everybody out there. We've done that already. But off of Squid Game here, a few upgrades in momentum. So just reading this, people can't read my writing. Momentum long 633 break. Well, when I wrote this, obviously this went out at, before 8 o'clock. We were looking at a 633 break right here, this level. That already happened. And now you're up $2, almost $2.50 in the money alone, just on that 633 break, right? So that was a big break, but again, with the volume, this could easily fade back in. So, we're not going to count the chickens before they hatch. I'm not in anything here right now. Normally, I'm into something, but we'll wait to see where the market comes in. But, Netflix, I like everything they're doing. A few upgrades, like I said, content is king, and that's what Netflix has. So for right now, I'm pretty much a bull on this name. The last time I bought this was like $50, $60. Netflix, I did sell it. I don't own any more Netflix, which obviously I did. And you could tell that was 10 years ago. So it's not like we've been buying this anytime recently, which is why I say that. This 610 break, wow, what a breakout there. Whenever you have FANG names or any like high quality names, that's why I'm talking about a firm. Like if you have any high quality names breaking highs like this that have sort of consolidated, the real break was 630 or sorry, 560 there. We're at 630 now, but this 560 break where you sort of consolidated for 6 months here, that was great. That was a good break. You get the dip right back into those levels. That's a good buying opportunity. So again, any dipping down into here, 610, 620, if the market rebounds a little bit off those levels, then yeah, Netflix continues to take out highs. But for right now on the daily chart, so that's the daily, we'll have to go back to a 20 period. Since we've already broken that 633, we'll see any dips back here, man. 630, 631. We're definitely buyers of Netflix. And then even back down to 633, I kind of like that as well. Even though we broke it already, we've already talked about that. So 633, that's the level we liked early. We didn't take it because of volume and because of what time it broke. It broke at 8:20, so an hour before the market. Not a great spot to be into Netflix, especially when you have 50 cents, $1 worth of spread at that time. So let's put a small bid back here at these levels that we like. We'll bid 633, then we'll bid again at 630 and see what happens.
All right, in the event, guys, we don't get to Southwest Airlines, Southwest Love on the watch list this morning after the news story from the weekend. The pilots union just came out and said they are not, officially not, holding a sick out as was alleged as far as some of these cancellations were concerned. So Love just popped up there a little bit, back to the upside. Energy stocks, guys, wanted to show you a chart of crude oil. If we can here, Lucas, thank you. This high up here, so the pre-market high above 81 was the highest level for crude since October of 2014. So take your pick. Any kind of oil stock going to be positive here?
Well, you saw on the upgrades and downgrades when you were pointing them out there, Brendan, of course, XOM getting the downgrade. And I've usually talked about Oxy. I'll go to one of these that I actually own shares of. Not usually a day trade over here in Chevron. But it's just this run is impressive. When we talk about, I think we were just talking about lower highs with regards to a few names here, and Chevron getting awfully close to this 111 area. Now it's in spitting distance right now, about 1% or so away from that, being up 1% today. And these are not like all-time highs or anything like this. I mean, I can go back and show you, 2019, some of the levels that Chevron's been at in the past, but hey, heck, this is a strong move in energy. I kind of feel two ways about this. The first one is that there's legitimate concerns regarding a cold winter coming in, and certainly oil prices or the gasoline becoming a secondary option for a lot of places that are having a bit of a crunch. That could be pressure to drive prices even higher. Although the other side, and it's true, that feels like it's getting priced in as strong as this move has been. And if that's the case, and then we don't get that, well, then you should come back down to earth. Now, either way. I think that means that dips, if the latter happens, or I think dips down to 100 are going to be all kinds of buy for something like a Chevron. But then the other side of this trade would be, man, we could be breaking that 111, and the momentum is so incredibly strong. Now, I'm looking at that 111 initially here to be a bit of a reversal. There has been some fantastic turnaround plays. We had a good one on Occidental when it hit that 3260, I believe it was, and I look right back at the last key level here in Chevron to get tested, like a 107.75, and then turning into a bit of support. Any dip today, I think that's what you're looking at in terms of Chevron, 107.75. I want to fade 111 if I get a chance to do it. You have to go. I think you have to go area stops on a stock like this. Like you wouldn't put a stop at 111, and then if it prints 01s, you're going to be out of it. That just seems kind of crazy. And similarly, if you're buying a dip in this thing and you like to, let's say, to 107.50, it's not as if you want to put in a stop. If 107.50 breaks, you're going to immediately get out. It's more of a stock that you should be trading with an area, a range, or watch it as it goes down to that particular price. So Chevron's on my radar. If it dips anywhere close to this previous high, which turned into support, that's about 107.5. We test that 111 lower high. I like that one as well. Watch out there, guys. If you're trading that Affirm, I like to I mean, I don't know. I kind of thought if Affirm could have tested higher to that pre-market, not pre-market, that all-time high or Friday's high, it'd be a fade. Starting to come off a little bit, and CEI starting to bounce. So that's at 182, 193 to $2 is a big range, interesting range for me, and good prices from last week. So we'll be trading those.
Okay, man. Yeah, I talked about XOM, and we've been doing that. I actually put on a put here. We talked about that on the show when we were upside, and we cashed out right when we got to these levels down here. We did miss the very bottom, but we did take this out at 56, and that was a nice little win, so hit the siren for that, and I want to do the exact same thing again here. So I think it's just gone too far, too fast right now. Oil is just rocking. It's still up 2% today, but yeah, like Brendan kept keeps mentioning to us at 7-year highs oil is, and it's just right back in. So I like XOM. I have some shorts up here near 65, and I think that needs to go downside there. So through 65, maybe we retest it, but I'm already sitting up here right now in case we do get a shot to the upside. I'm at 64.50 or so, so we will see what does happen right now. So XOM right now to the downside. So we're just looking at that, and we'll see where we go from here on XOM. So that's going to be my short coming in. I don't know if it's going to be for a day trade or not here today, but anything up. So if we get up to 64, 64.50, then we're going to short it. I don't want to go long any of these levels. If we do dip back in, then fine. But for right now, XOM is going to be a watch for me. You can see here this. Oh, okay. I didn't even realize this. This is the number one on the imbalance locator right now is XOM. So this is the market on open orders coming through. XOM, BABA, rigs. These are all oil. I mean, Vale here, Marathon. I don't really see. I mean, there's DD. We talk about Ford a little bit. Wow, Ford 15.25 coming back in a little bit here off of the move from Friday. Ford's high was exactly 15.50. So again, watch out for that. Dip buying on Ford all day, every day, man. Back down to 15. Let's put some bids there right now. Merck. Other than that, there's Oxy. So there's CVX, Neil talked about. So there's a bunch of names on here. It looks like oil is going to be the trade today, guys. So get locked and loaded. I'm looking to short XOM.
All right, a couple more analyst notes to pass along for everyone. SoFi Technologies, Morgan Stanley initiating coverage at overweight for SoFi, so that one's on the list. Also want to talk about Bros. If you remember, going back, I think it was last month, they came to market for Bros up 2.3% here. Today is the end of the silent period for analysts coming off the IPO. So no less than 7 brokerages have started coverage on Bros, including JP Morgan with an overweight rating and a $47 price target for Bros, guys.
Okay. Bro, 47? Okay. SoFi, 17 break didn't work last time. It's right back here. 17 break. Let's hope it works this time. That's all I'll say for SoFi. Definitely going to be one to watch. I did mention quickly there that CEI was making a bit of a move. It broke back. It broke both down first. So it broke down off of what would look like a key level of 175, 176, only because it was holding all morning, and then had a floor at 72. Now it's trying to test back upside. The volume it's not as big as it was last week, but it's still rather significant. When I said 193 to $2, here's your lower high at 190. Previous levels, 193, that was from a couple of weeks ago, and we use those trades we use those levels for Friday's action. But that $2 level, that was a big time hold. You guys were watching the show. You were watching last week. This $2 range was just an absolute wall that sat in front of it. So somewhere in that price range, I'd fade 2, but heck, if 2 breaks, you kind of know what's happening here. We're reversing to a long trade on CEI in the event that does happen. I mean, we're nowhere near there yet, but you got to have a plan of action. I want to be a seller between 93 and 2, and then I want to be breaking out to the long side if 2 does go. Alibaba's now at 170.60, so it looks like that could be testing that 171 awfully quickly this morning.
So I downgraded Bros. When we were up here at 56, 57, I said the next stop is going to be 48. That's exactly what happened. Tanked all the way to 48, then it went down to 42. I just couldn't find any shorts in my longer term account, and it's not option eligible. So Bros already got cleaned out there, no problem, from 56 down to 44 right now. We do have a request here, and a shout out to Lucas because he's being asked about Romeo Power. So again, the only problem with Romeo Power, of course, it's not that there's a problem. It's the space that we're in, right? I mean, they lithium-ion battery modules and stuff like that. It's just one of those things where they're going to need to find a deal. They're going to need to get off this bottom. I mean, $4. It's hit $4 a couple times, right back down there. I like where we are there. You can look at QuantumScape as well. I mean, you're talking about. I mean, that's a little bit different solid-state batteries, but. Romeo Power needs to get a deal, and if they can get one, then I think it's great. But again, a recent high flyer. It always sucks when your best day is your IPO day, and so that's what it's been happening here. But again, picking up some of these names down here near $4 to $5, I don't think you can go wrong, especially on a name that's already made this kind of a bottom. So RMO, another name in this space. I'll talk to Randy about this, see if he knows anything about Romeo. But for right now, that's a nice little bottom there. A recent name. Sucks to be long this. Sucks to be long anything in the EV space right now besides Tesla, to be honest with you. So we'll wait to see if we can pick up some NIO. But this is one that's okay. I prefer XL Fleet, but right now Romeo is one that I'm looking at. And thanks for the questions.
Wherefore art thou, Brandon?
It's near the bottom.
PTGX, guys, let's talk about a little one, bottom end of the list here. 90% for Protagonist. This is a huge move back to the upside. This thing was trading at 18 back on Friday. If you remember this day, we talked about Protagonist. The FDA put a clinical hold on one of their trials that was currently underway. So today we get the lift of said hold on PTGX. I've tried this a couple times already. This is thin, very, very thinly traded. Big range on this as well. So this level up here is 36, and then 37.50 is the high of day. So a huge move already, guys, for PTGX.
Yes, sir. We got a question about in a super chat about Wish. Not trying to ignore it. Did see it. It's not really, context logic isn't really moving a heck of a lot. And you talk about the stocks that had those crazy bottoms and have not found a low. Well, I mean, it's trying to put one in at 455. Today, I mean, the story holds. You want $5 to hold this week before it goes anywhere. I need a catalyst. I need volume for a breakout. It does set up for one of those, I guess, get off the bottom trades so long as it can hold that higher low. But this is a more of, it tests that today and tomorrow than anything else. Just to check back in on VGR, Voyager there. I am in that position. It is sort of breaking back up, breaking back into the upside here. I was able to take some shares out in the 60 and 55 range. It's going to retest that high, or at least it looks like it's about to retest that high. I'm also looking at that PTGX as well. I'm not in it. I'm looking at 38 to fade off of that level. If it gets a pop at the open, that's what I want to try to do. And then DATS, no, we call it DATS around here. DATS, $12 level looks like a big one for DATS. Obviously, you had the big break last week, but have a quick look at this 13 high, this flush level here, just above $12 last week, and then trying to hold below that now. So if DATS can break $12.50, it's a much better breakout.
20 seconds.
$12, but the 12 level, I only look to be a fader at that price. And if DATS gets anywhere close to 10.50, I think there's going to be a buying opportunity. Ms. V is still on vacation, much deserved. Randy, Trader TV, Randy is on the bell. Let's get this week started. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Ring it, Randy. Huh?
All right. Not overly exciting there, but the bell rang there and we're open. So first position right now, Netflix. We have a 633.25 bid. We just got picked up there on the downside of Netflix. So that, that's exactly where we wanted it. So we'll see if we can get a little bit more shares here on Netflix as it's just trying to figure itself out. It doesn't even look like, it's open. I think it's open. I think we've had a big NASDAQ print here. So right now, nicely in the money now, $2 plus on Netflix. So far so good on that one. We'll dap up Netflix, but could come to that downside. Watch out for the NASDAQ. We're going to wait for 630 to break on Netflix. Right now, only one position, and it is NFLX.
Yeah, I don't know what Randy did, but you know if we broke it. Voyager heading to the downside, but I'm trying to pick up some shares of Southwest on a bit of a pop. Pick up some shares to the short side in the event of a pop. Also looking at Alibaba here, which is trying. It actually almost immediately went to the downside, so I didn't get any shares in front of 171. I'm now shooting in front of that 170 mark, see if we can pick them. Affirm is falling almost heavily here, I want to say. I just got the SoFi breakout to the long side. That was one of the ones that, hey, we'll see if we get that momentum. It didn't work last week, 17 break. We'll see what happens today. Got 0-1 to the long side on SoFi.
There it is already, cashed out already, guys, $1.50 on Netflix. So there it is, man. It's the number one name on the sticky note right there, Netflix. So there it is, a nice bid there. Let's see if we can ride to the high side. Now, we're not going to make the same mistake that we made on Square and Affirm and things like that, where we've had bottoms and then just given them up. So hopefully we have enough gumption here to hold this for a little bit. But right there, we did take out 2/3 already of our Netflix trade. So buy that bottom 633, which is the exact price that we had on our sticky note. So and out there for $1.50. Let's wait to see what happened there. 1/2 of diamond hand. SoFi also on the list today. Super happy that this thing's rocking and rolling. Was wanting to pick something up down here. I actually have a 1675 bid. That didn't happen. It looks like SoFi taking out the top. Let's go long if it does that, man. 1710 or so long on SoFi, guys.
And watch out for Moderna here. It's trying to get off a bid. Now, we talked about a little bit about Merck in the chat earlier this morning with some guys about the strength of Merck and how that could be weakness for Moderna. Trying to get to this 307 area. That's the lower high that I would first fade, and probably at 4s and 5s if we can get them. I still haven't gotten Alibaba, but it is trying to get back to that 169 range. So going to try to be at least a little bit patient with it. I don't want to be in too early. I've taken nothing out of SoFi just yet. I need it to go more than like 5 or 6 cents in the money for me. And then CEI, pretty range bound. So Camber, it was all Camber last week. CEI CEI not breaking towards that 93 to $2. Not even testing that 155. So far, relatively sleepy on CEI. mRNA just popped in, so we do get the first fade in Moderna as it does try to break. Now, pre-market highs are at 305 or so, but you look last week, this is more like 07, so target entry range. I mean, I got 305 right now, 304.88. The target range is between here and that obvious 307 mark. It was actually early morning, not even afternoon on Friday.
Yeah, so, 1690 or so here. If we can get some SoFi, we'll buy some near the bottom there if we can. We can look at Smile Direct here. People asking about it, 670 or so. Where are we going on this one? Up that 1.1%, so not a whole hell of a lot. We did some STC trading there. Look at that short that we had on Smile Direct on Friday. That was a killer one. And then we got out right there. So we got out some nice bottoms on Smile Direct, but 650 looking to hold out for that. Netflix still rocking and rolling here. Now through, man. Now through. Let's go. See if we can hold that. The high of the day now 635 and still trying to rock and roll there as we're going back to the upside. SoFi starting to move as well. So let's see. We're into that one, but not heavy. We'd like to see a pullback in SoFi. Okay, Palantir, the stock that we love. Look at that bottom that we had, 23.11. Hell yeah, on Friday, man. This was this game saver because we were buying Palantir early, and then we bought that bottom. Oh yeah, and by the way, we'll talk about it anyway. Someone said I wore my Palantir hat to the zoo, and someone said, oh, I thought I lost it. I didn't lose my Palantir hat. Okay, 23.60 to the high side. It has to come back in, but Palantir doing what it does, man. Look at that big time move off the open here for PLTR.
Yeah, and Affirm immediately falling off there. I hope someone's got that one. So all you guys in the chat that were talking Affirm and liking it, I'd missed this boat. I kind of thought it would test a little bit higher. That clearly has not happened. You're going to see it absolutely fade. I just tried to get some more shares of Moderna up there and didn't want to miss on that reload. It turned at that. Remember 307? We were just talking about 307. It just turned in front of 307. I couldn't get any shares, unfortunately, so we'll have to sit the reload out. In terms of finding a dip on Affirm, I mean, there's some big levels on the daily chart there, obviously. But if you go to the 15 here, you're waiting all the way to like 132, 134. 132, of course, being a big level last week. We'll have to hunt for that. And then PTGX was the other one. And I want to be very, very careful with this. As Brendan said, this is very thinly traded. I wanted to short off a 38 level. It's not even showing you that kind of strength. It looks like 35 could be resistance worth testing, at least in the short term. So I'll take a quick shot at this one. It does feel like it's getting a little bit weak, putting in some lower highs here off the open. But be careful with this. It could halt rather easily.
Okay, yeah. Which name was that?
This is
PTGX. Right, okay. So we've dipped into Ford here. So Ford, I don't know, man. A nice move to the bottom here, so we'll see if it can hold out, man. Ford's still negative today. The NASDAQ trying to get back to positive, as is the ES right now. So, yeah, good movements here on some names. Obviously, Netflix now in the money. SoFi's still in the money. And then we're waiting for Ford. So we do a dip buy here. But look, 20-minute chart, 1480, looking to be a little bit of a concern spot. So we're going to average into this. If it comes back down to 1490, which may do, we'll take a much bigger position there. So watch out for that happening. Clover's starting to get going a little bit now too. It almost punched us in there at 810, but a nice bottom made there. I hate taking out the top here, but we're still early in the day. So if that happens, that's why we're sort of happy with our SoFi trade. We'll see where we go from here on that. But right now, if Clover punches the top, we'll take that ticket and we'll go long with Clover. So 810 is basically what we're looking at. And I don't know, we didn't get in. What is my stop order? Oh, my stop order at 811. So that didn't actually even trigger today. So we'll wait to see if that comes through. That's going to be a good one. There goes SoFi now, man. There it is. Yes, sir. So not only that, look at that buy, the dip on SoFi right there. So money just spinning out like crazy. 1685 bottom there on SoFi. So we actually were able to get that fill. So that's good. Actually was 1690 there. So as we're going to the upside, a nice little win here for SoFi, guys.
I was going to say, I'm sitting at 86, didn't get any fills on SoFi, but it certainly looks like it's going to try to go, definitely going today. It didn't work last week. We're going to revisit it, of course, like we said today. I did just get Southwest heading to the upside and going to get tested right here at 310 on Moderna. So it looks like it's trying to break out of that range. I faded it. I should have looked at Merck as well for the long side trade, of course. I'm in 5 already, so it's hard to trade more than 5 at the open. I do have the Southwest here. I just got it at 52.20. It looks like if it tests back down to 51.50, I'll take some out in front of that level as we send you back to Brendan. What's up?
All right, guys. Big mover Friday. CCXI making moves here early on. CCXI, remember this thing went from 18 up to 40 on Friday. Just popped back above some pre-market levels here, 39.50 and then 40 key for CCXI.
Yeah, Alibaba's coming back down a little bit. So is a firm coming back in a little bit. Like we said, if it doesn't take out that top, then we're going to wait for a firm. Pags to riches, Pags down 10% now, PAGS. Maybe we can find out a little bit about that, as that's going to be SSR right now and doing volume right now. PAGS coming back to the downside if and when the charts will load. We can have a look at that one. SoFi still that 23 cents in the money. Netflix starting to fade out a little bit, so we'll have a take a look at this. But look at Pags straight to the downside. Almost seems like an earnings, but look at this, 45, yucky. So we'll find out more about them, but I don't really have too much love for them because they already broke that level, but just a name to look at SoFi. Wow, this name just continues. Okay, yeah, my charts aren't working, so we'll have to wait on this.
That's going to happen. Look, the CCXI is another one that's on the radar. You have to have one of these. Now, watch out. I thought that this could put in a gap higher, closer to that 42, 45 area when it had the news. But so far, so good in terms of holding a higher low, or a lower high, I should say, at about $40. That's the stop that I would look to put in here. I do want this one. I am sitting here trying to get an offer in front of about 39.25 or so, but I don't want to chase it. This is a stock that I have no real desire to chase, and certainly if 41 goes, I still think that a fresh high at like 41 is worthy of a possible trade into the long side there for reversal. Kind of interesting here. SoFi just broke the quarters. I'll wait till about 30 to 40 to take any more shares off. Brendan, what do you got, bud?
All right, so this PAGS, PAGS, guys, is a Brazilian fintech company. So another Brazilian bank came out and raised the risk level on this company today. So this thing has had quite a mess of a daily chart over the past couple of days. So again, just a downgrade essentially from another Brazilian bank.
Okay, so yeah, okay, good. So thanks for that, Brendan. Netflix came into a level, and I'm bidding down here, man. I'm bidding 630.50. It comes to 631.17 only. So Ford bouncing back as well. So we did take that long. It didn't get as low as we needed it to. We were waiting at 14.90. 91 or 92 to get more long. We did not get that trade, but now it's coming back to the upside. So we'll watch out for Ford. We're long here at 05, so it's not like there's anything happening. And then a shout out to everybody that's stuck in this. There as Bitcoin right now, 57,000 USD right now for Bitcoin. So holla at your boy, crypto world, because yeah, we are really, really nice. And congratulations to everybody that's been long crypto with me for years. Hopefully you have been, and if you have only been long for months, congratulations as well, as crypto starting to go off right now, as Ethereum also taking out 3,600. So that's a level of concern for Ethereum. We're still waiting for Clover. And then maybe it's time to pick up some BABA, guys, on the downside. I mean, it's starting to fall off here pretty nicely. I mean, we did touch that 171, and now it's coming back in. I said too far, too fast on Alibaba, so we'll see where we can go from here. But 167 is not a horrible spot. So Alibaba's starting to go, and there goes Clover, just taking out the top now, guys. And by the way, hells yeah with SoFi. Let's go, man. We'll do the AMC ape for SoFi, because I know a lot of you probably trading AMC may also have some SoFi, as you're up to 1740 now. Nice little run. 1690, 1710 break. Good little up and down there for SoFi. What's up, Brendo?
ED popping back up here as well. Right as you were talking about that, Alibaba just took out the pre-market highs there. Also, Ren, if you remember that Ren from Friday, another Chinese name, same thing. Back to pre-market highs for Ren as well, guys.
And I'm going to be all out of two things. One, we'll do this for Moderna. I just took that 410 level to the upside, so it couldn't hold that higher level from yesterday, from Friday's action, not yesterday. And Voyager going to be all out of it. Felt like an absolute rock. Holds that lower high that we're mentioning here, that 570 was the thing we had on when we came and sat down this morning, or for you guys at the open. 520 on a bounce here. I just was able to take it out. I put a bit of a trail in when it looked like it couldn't break that 5 even. PTGX, I'm sitting in this one to the south side. It's starting to roll over. So we got the consolidation. If this breaks this 32, I am sitting in front of 30. There was a higher low here just at 7 o'clock when some of the retail came in. I think it tests that level, and if it does, might catch a little bit of a bid. SoFi getting close to that 750 mark. If we get there, I definitely want to have some shares out. It's more of a round dollar thing than anything else on SoFi. But if you do pull back your 15-minute here, this is the chop that you have in this first level, going all the way back into the 28th. There was a bit of a gap down, and 1750 was that resistance. We break that, we're headed towards that 18 high. So going to be taking some profit if I can get it in the low 40s on SoFi. And someone asked, you getting into a firm and buying the dip just yet? Well, 132 would be where I would think the long is wrong. So I kind of want to be a little bit more patient buying this dip. You know, a firm will put in $10 moves, right? We've seen it happen to the upside. No reason to think it's not capable of that to the downside before buying the dip.
So we've actually been spinning this. Because there we go, man. We are almost all out right now. We have about 20% left of this SoFi position, man. And yeah, it was SoFi good today because just right to the upside. We're 4 for 4 right now. I mean, positions pending, of course, as Netflix still 30 cents in the money. But we've already taken that out. This one, I mean, this could get nasty if we break 630. So we'll wait to see if that's going to happen. Really nice to see the NASDAQ bumping today, as we do have money in the market now. So we bought last week, as you guys know. Nice little move up for Ford. So there it is, man. 615.04, I'm long at. We took a piece out there at 10. That's only a 5-cent win. So that's just a small piece, literally 10% out. No, sorry, 20% out right there on Ford. But we're no more outs. I mean, if we can get back up to 15, 20, that'd be fantastic. But we are looking one more time for that dip buy. But Clover's starting to go finally. So maybe it's alive. I don't know. We were waiting for that pre-market break of 10. Now it's up to 18. So again, man, I mean, we'll just come crashing in with some of these wins. We have four positions on right now, and they're all 4 in the money. So far, so good. SoFi, though, that's the big one up for me right now. Netflix, we just talked about. Ford is good, and Clover's good. Let's find some more names for you. What about AMC? AMC was on my list today at that 37.20. I'd hate if that broke already. Okay, it went to the downside because I did have that in, and I don't know if I did put an order in. So AMC falling down. We sort of thought this may happen. I was wondering if those bond numbers would have a positive effect on them, but then we saw that bond was way worse. Not way worse, but James Bond, to the low side there. But you can see here 35 looks like that may or may not hold, but definitely worth it here. 35.50 is going to be a good holding spot for NVIDIA. For AMC as we're coming to the downside, so it just bounced off 36 there. So let's wait to see. I'm looking to wait for 35.50, but I do not mind taking a shot here on AMC, guys.
And just coming back to the other side of that equation when it comes to the vaccine names, that's going to be Merck, selling off a little bit off that 82 level. Remember, $80 is a big key level on Merck on the daily. I'm still sitting in front of it. I want to catch that bid if it gets there. Not going to happen yet. I did take, like I said, the next leg in SoFi would be if it rejected, come on, load. If it rejected that 1750, which it just did, it got to 48. So on that pullback, I was able to get some shares out at 40. I'll go ahead and cancel the dip buy because if SoFi were to fall, 60 cents from here, I wouldn't necessarily want to catch the falling sword. I'd be looking for first support probably in that 17 to 17.10 range. Somewhere in that range will be where I try to catch that bit of a bid. That PTGX still remains pretty volatile. It tried to break that 32 we just talked about, bouncing off it now. If it retests about 34 or so, I'd look to get a bit of a reload. I'll get out at 35 because 38 is the key level. We didn't quite pull up the chart. I wanted to show you guys here. You go walk back in the daily, sort of previous resistance, and on a big dip to push it to the all-time highs would have been this 38 level. It's not filling in the entire gap on the positive news, which that's kind of the same thing CCXI did. And after watching that, I'm kind of anticipating that maybe that won't happen here as well on PTGX.
Okay, yeah. Someone asking, you're out of Moderna already, right?
Oh, yeah, long time.
Okay, long time ago. So yeah, we're out of Moderna, guys. Thanks for asking. You can hopefully, for joining us for the first time, you can see our positions on the boards right at the bottom. So that will help you. Like, I'm still in everything, but we are inching out of them, right? And that's the one thing that Neil and I will do. So we don't hold everything for. Not to speak for everybody, but sometimes we will leg out of some of these positions. So if you're seeing us say like, oh, I'm out a little bit of Ford there, I'll try to always tell you, and Neil will as well, what percent maybe we have left, or things like that to help the viewers out. So just like now on Ford, we're out at 20% right there for 5 cents. It just ripped up to 14, and I was actually waiting at 15. So just to give you guys an update, we will get some more out there. What was that, Brendan? What's up, bud?
Easy Fill Holdings, guys, another one moving here. They've looks like some news about expanding their fleet in Florida. For this one, EZFL, 25%, just pushing back towards day highs for this little one.
EZFL, definitely going to watch that one, but also they got to keep an eye on LUV. Is that starting to make some move? That EZFL, that's on the NASDAQ, I'm assuming, right? Yeah, I just want to make sure we line it up. That's a new one for us, guys. It's got good volume on it, and look, it's going to be right in the wheelhouse. But I never want to trade these things completely blind. It's trying to turn, and again, I'll have to check to see if not again, but I have to check to see if I have locates, but it's trying to turn off of 440, but I look at two obvious levels, 455, standing out a little bit more on that particular name. If it gets there, fair enough. I mentioned AEHR in passing in the morning. I think it was probably in the chat. I don't know if we got to this oldie but goodie. But it tried to get to $20 last week. It could not. I'm going to go ahead and cancel this fade order. If AEHR were to break 18, I kind of feel like it's got a bit of a gap to fill. So I thought this would be testing 20, and it's a good company. I like what they're doing, but just the pure momentum. If this breaks 18, this could fall. I like 20 for a breakout. I like 20 to fade in front of, but it doesn't feel like we're going to get an actionable trade on AEHR off that high. We'll have to look for a low break on AEHR.
Okay, guys, and we'll come flying in again as Ford right now tipping us out. There it is there. Oh, I had a 15. Oh, man, I had a 16 offer there? Okay, thank God. It was just 10% each of these plays, so thank God it wasn't 20%. I didn't realize I had a 15 and a 16, but we'll take those both out, and now we'll wait to see if we get back to these highs on Ford. So another one's working out for us as well. The only position that we have right now that's not doing anything, and Clover went up. We were sitting at 20. It went to 19. Now coming back in. So Clover, again, I like this stock, but when it loses steam, it loses steam. So I don't know. I don't want to average into this one too much. I really thought that there was a chance it could have gone today. I mean, we'll take the 2.5% on the equity side and be really happy with that. Obviously, we talked about the options that we have. Probably not going to be in the money this Friday. It has to be $9 plus, let alone what you paid. I don't know what I paid on the premium, probably 70 cents. So it has to get up to 970 or so to break even on that one. That probably won't be happening. Is that CEI? Okay, so CEI right now. Have you been in that one yet?
I haven't been in it
yet.
Right,
because it's right down to 150.
It's getting real close to, look, 155 was my level, and I'm trying to be really patient with the stock because it's looking not relatively weak, it's looking pretty weak. And as it comes down to this key level, and I'll show you from 155, this is it on Friday's action. That's going to be your bottom there. You pop it all the way back in like a 15-minute, and you can kind of see what's a couple of days worth of action at that price, and some support if you go back far enough. But let's actually let it test this level, guys. See, you're only about 4 or 5 cents away. When you're trading what essentially amounts to a penny stock, you want to make sure you're getting a good price. There's no sense being 5% away from support and taking the long way too early. I'm trying to wait around for that 155 to get tested. Obviously, we're not necessarily breaking out through that $2 anytime soon, but we do reserve the right at some point to start thinking about shorting in front of that level. I did get more shares of Southwest. That rejected sort of well away from that 53 level, and then trying to put in a lower high here at 52.40. I kind of feel like Southwest is the one that I'll be in this to the short side until it makes a big move. It would have to break at least that 53 for me to get out, and even then it would be more of an area stop there. Alibaba never gave me the shot at an entry point, and now you're seeing some consolidation off of the pre-market lows. So looks like the first time I'm going to get into it could be here on BABA. We missed it on the rollover at the open. We'll see if we can't take some shares now on a lower high with the market trying to get back into the upside. So the market turning positive now as we take you to Brendan. What's up, bud?
More Chinese strength, guys. Tencent Music just popping up here to day highs. Just broke that 790 from the pre-market on volume as well. So TME starting to go.
Yeah, looking Palantir 2375. Yeah, not really wetting my whistle on that one yet for Palantir, so we'll wait to see if that one wants to do anything. Ford right now, we're waiting for 20s, I believe. 23s is my next offer into here. So if we can get that, man, hell yeah, for Ford, some good on that one. Hopefully we're waiting to average into Netflix. You see me still in that position. It's not a heavy one. We're already out at 2/3 there for that $1.70 win early on Netflix, if and when the charts load. You can see that right there. So we got in early and got out early. This is like in 1 minute. We made the actually $1.49, sorry, on that trade. And then now we're waiting for some 30s to come. So if that can come through, great. But it's not really acting properly here, Netflix. So I'm debating if we can get back up to this area at 634, then we'll probably dump this, take the 75 cents, and then wait to see if we get any lower bids. So that's going to be my plan of action there on Netflix for this particular trade. So we'll wait for that. I talked about Alibaba at 167. Wow, that's been a nice move up to 169 right now. Alibaba, a name that's probably overdone at the sell side as well. And this will bring up bad vibes for people because it's Ms. V's stock and it's Starbucks. Yeah, no, not yet. And I mean, she loves to trade Tesla. I don't. But here goes Starbucks again. I think this one's overdone to the downside. They've been hit a little bit here on the China worries, of course, and then now just basing out nicely down here at 110. So I'm debating on just picking some of this up again. I'm still long Starbucks. I'm long from the 50s and 60 area, but they had such a nice run in 2020, 2019, 2021, just the last little while there. I mean, we can zoom back this day chart. It's been like mean, talk about a run. This is where I'm talking about how low this thing was down here. Even just back all of 2020, like that bottom down there, 58. I'm long from before all of this. Like Starbucks has been in that name for a long time. But $60 all the way up to $130. So basically doubled there for a pretty high quality company. And now coming back in right here. So 110, a good little level for Starbucks. That's definitely a buying opportunity there. Ford looking to get another leg out here. I might just take this out. We're at 15.23 is our next spot. And then Clover falling back in. We do have some lower bids in the 70s.
And watch out for two things. One, that CCXI took off through 41. Remember, we had to stop at 35, thankfully, on PTGX, because we're looking at that high at 37, 38 area. And it now looks like it wants to test that level. And guys, if you see me, and you will probably see this, you'll see me pop in and out of that ADMS, that buyout. I will probably be trying to do some spread trading on it inside, so you'll see positions come in and out rather quickly there. But this PTGX is trying to make a second turn, only about 50 or 60 cents higher than that stop out at 35. So I thought it would press a little closer to 37. So try to be patient with that one. I don't want to jump in too early. It feels pretty strong, and I wanted to be testing off that high of the day. Alibaba's starting to get back into the downside here. I mean, nothing crazy yet, but if it retests 167, that lower high range, that low of the day range, I do want to take some profit here. I don't want it putting in a lower high in a strong market, and I've gotten absolutely nothing out. So, got to watch out for Alibaba. There was the chance, like I said, the short at the first at the open. I did miss out. Now I'm going to take it one more time. SoFi, not CEI. SoFi popping back into VWAP. I liked 17 to 17.10 more than just sort of sitting in front of VWAP here. With the market looking strong, I'm not sure it wants to give you a monster dip, but I'm going to wait around for a break of VWAP and then play it by ear. Wherever it consolidates is kind of where I want to buy that dip in SoFi, and then we'll engage in it. CEI didn't actually get to, so I say wait around. It's basically a penny stock. Get your price. CEI bounces off 162. I still say 155 is your support. Wait for that.
So I didn't even have time to put my order out for Netflix, but right now we'll do the Netflix little logo there. Dung dung. As it's coming to the upside right now, Netflix and chill. I don't think so today. Netflix is not chilling at all as we're going to the high of the day right now on Netflix. And again, I hope you guys were able to at least follow a little bit of the sticky note. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody. All of our Canadian friends, if you're out there, what up? There's Canada right there with the maple leaf and the flag. Great. Netflix off Squid Game, a few upgrades. We love the long. We love the long at 633. We loved it even more at 630. 635 right now. So that's been a good trade for us. We'll check out XOM. We talked about getting long and SoFi. Bang that one out. One of my top stocks for the day. And Robinhood, well, let's look at Robinhood and let's look at Facebook. We forgot about both of those actually. So let's go over to my sticky note and see what we have a look on there. XOM, of course, and some of these oil names on our big note, on our big board there on watchlist.tradertv.live. Absolutely for free. But let's just get out here on Netflix. We just touched this high. If we could touch 636, 636.50 or so, I think that's going to be a good out for us. Oh, hell yeah. We also have Ford on the board, but we don't have a little logo for that one. But we do have Tesla. So we'll put Tesla magic on. Look at Ford, guys. An 18-cent winner right now for Ford. We just took it out. As we said, man, 23 is out. See ya. We still got 40% of this trade. Hell yeah to that one. SoFi. There's SoFi. SoFi good so far. All the way to the upside. Beautiful trade there. And then Clover is the one that we're waiting for. So I think this is going to be a dead one for sure. But let's go over to Facebook. As we said, you break that 326 and it is adios amigos. That does not happen early, man. It came very, very close to doing that. It actually breaks right off the open, but we don't take that. It comes all the way back to the upside. 330 holds. So I think this is a decent breaking spot right here for Facebook. Let's see if we can take this to the downside. 328 break happening right now. Let's test a Facebook short here. What's up, Brendan?
Sphere 3D, one that can get going if it wants to. We've looked at many times here. Any on the NASDAQ. Just notice day highs here, 10%. We're right into some of these levels, though, on the daily chart for Sphere 3D.
And just got some shares out of Alibaba, which is now pressing back towards that low of the day. I'll let 167 go. Like, if it wants to break this level on Baba, I'd look back to see it's that 50-period moving average that we sort of talked about there. So if it cannot hold that one, there could be some further downside there on Alibaba. We'll see what happens. I mean, for now, the short is looking pretty good. A couple of bounces off that level, and I think you got to at least think about turning into the long trader on that name. Just coming back over to PTGX, I did try to get, like I said, be careful with this stock. I was sitting here at 36 and change, and about 5 cents away from getting the fill, at least it looked like. and then it absolutely tanked. It dropped $1 right in front of my eyes. So the bid just absolutely evaporated on this stock out of nowhere. I was a little bit surprised to see it happen, but it is what it is. Nothing you can do about it there. I missed out on that chance to be able to catch it off of that high, the pre-market high. We had the first short and consolidation. That got stopped out and tried to get back into it. If it retakes 35 here, I'm going to see if I can't get into another short on the next consolidation down. Starting to look weak once again on this PTGX, and then the other end of this trade. The other end of these, I guess, post FDA gap fills, whatever you want to call them. That CCXI took out that 41. And then immediately starting to reverse here. So this name showing some signs of weakness. But remember, it never filled the entire gap. And this is where we thought it could get to last week, this 45 to 47. If it can manage to hold $40, it still has a chance to do that. Brendo.
Another one that just ripped right through its pre-market range. DATS trying to get back above 12 here. Was resistance in the pre-market and back on Friday as well for DATS.
You just want to look at that because someone in the chat obviously been talking about stats. What up to Zach Morris? I wish it was the real Zach Morris, but I don't think it is. Okay, so to 12.12 there. Sorry, 12.20. A good spot, I think. I think that's worth taking the shot here, as it's been just upside big time here on DATS. We've hit these levels before, so that's where where you get a little bit nervous on a 12.20 break. But again, we'll see if DATS wants to take this out. I don't know, man. We've been rocking and rolling so much today. It's been such a good day for us that I don't really want to take too much risk here on a DATS, but this is a good spot, man. 12.20, you break that on some of this volume. Watch out for DAT chat possibly going higher and higher here. But yeah, I don't know. I know, it's just one of those names here where you got to watch out because there's as high as 13 is there. But hey, take a 12.20 to 13 is probably worth it. We'll watch that if it can come through. But that 12.20 looking very spicy there on DATS. We did get out of a piece here on Clover just to update you guys. We'll take a 9-cent or 8-cent, 10-cent hit there as we break through VWAP. We got out of a little bit there. We're going to wait to see if we can average back into this downside on Clover. Very, very light position. Only the first break spot that we have, right? That's how you know it's pretty light. And this is how you know SoFi is good. We take that break. We have our bid also fills at the bottom. So there it is. We basically have the low of the day there on SoFi, 1690. So that's going to be a good trade for us. And we emptied it out. So far, so good here. We're at the highest spot we've been at all day. And we do have a Facebook trade that we initiated. That went in the money 40 cents for us and we didn't take it. So yeah, down to 327.88 for us on this. So it actually only went 30 cents in the money, but we're going to wait for 329 break. If that breaks, then we're gone. Let's see if it takes out the high, 329.20. That'll be our out on Facebook, but we're trying a short.
Yeah, and someone asked if wasn't I short Voyager? I was short VYGR. I got out of it. It was a good one, obviously off that high, but when it plunged into this level at 520 and made a bit of a bounce, that was going to be the out for me. Didn't really even see it failing to hold that $5 range. So when I anticipated that it could do that, I ducked out of the trade. Obviously, you can hold on to things, and you'll never get the perfect trade. That's just the way the trading works. Sometimes every now and then you're going to get top-bottom wick. Sometimes it'll be a little bit of a fluke. Other times, hey, maybe you get the levels right. It's very, very often that I say I'm going to get out, and then it continues to fall to the downside, just because I tend to have targets on those trades. That PTGX still clustering here around 35 even. Makes one more press to that high of the day. I'll take a shot shorting it at that price range. And then Alibaba is still looking to hold that 167. Now, I already took some off here, and then I'm looking to see if it can break that bottom. It's also that 50 period. Now you're making a fresh low. If we hold an offer through this while the market is going up, it's hard to imagine that you're not going to get down to a 165 here on Alibaba. Now remember, this is me going against my own book, but sometimes that's what you do when you're trading. You got to play the momentum, and it looks like Alibaba is heading to that downside. LUV, like I said, I could be in this one a little bit longer. So it tests again, right up at that high, 52.70, not to 53. Market looking pretty strong. So, and again, remember Southwest is an airline that has been doing relatively well here. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere land on the daily chart. But when I look at this 153, it's a previous support level clearly, and then you have a pre-market high. So as long as it's below there, I want to be sitting in that short and then hopefully testing down towards some of these lows. Ultimately, I think 51 is about as far as it's going to go. Someone was saying take your profit on SoFi. I mean, at this point, I don't know. I mean, I don't see where we're wrong in SoFi yet. I've already scalped what I will out of that SoFi trade. and now hanging on for a break of the high and then testing $18. It just held the quarters on a dip, which also happened to be VWAP. So it's not telling me that we're wrong here, and the market's even going with it. So I don't see too much of a reason to take out any shares in this price range, which we've already done. Going to let it test that top one more time. Brendo.
All right, guys, let's have a look at North American markets here. Just like that, the markets are positive. All three back to positive territory here. The S&P 0.4, 0.5% for the Dow, the NASDAQ 0.4 as well. So bye-bye negativity that we saw in the pre-market there. The S&P TSX here in Toronto obviously closed because it's a holiday. So that's why there is no trading happening. Let's check out Merck. A few things we were talking about in the pre-market. On the watch list this morning, again, they've officially applied to the FDA for approval, EUA, for that pill, COVID-19 pill. They did sell it off, though, right off the bat here this morning, 81.75 down to about 80.5 for MRK, but still holding Friday's levels. Southwest, Neil talking about that, but nice looking chart here. Consolidating top end of the range, monster volume on love today. Guys, back to you.
Yeah. We did get hit there on Facebook coming up to the upside. So we did get out, but then we did notice a wick off top there, hopefully. And we did get back short. So we'll take some bids here. If we can get them at 329 flat, we'll take some out to make some of this money back. And then we'll see if we can get back to the downside and really create a winner for us if not, then we still have some of these highs to get out at 330 and change. There it is right there. So, again, averaged in, took the short, took an out right there. So made back some of that cash that we gave up. So no doubt about that as that came through in and out there on that name. And that is, of course, Facebook. So we'll hold the short and see where we go from here. Nice win now in the money, 40 cents. But we did take an L on that one. Check out SoFi right now. That one's starting to go as well. So hell yeah. We'll go a little bit of diamond hands on that, as normally we don't hold all the way for this move. So SoFi, nicely done for me here. Up 70 cents, 80 cents in the money now on this one. So that's going to be a good one. And then a new position alert as we take it, guys. We are finally in this name. We are finally into AMC right now, as AMC taking out these bottoms right now. So, taking out the bottoms in the pre-market, already made a nice bottom, but we'll see where it goes now. We still have some of these highs, 37.10 and change. If we could break through 37, we should take that. But right now we are long in AMC, give it all the way back to the bottom. We'll see if some momentum reigns supreme here on AMC. Look at what's happening today for me, man. We're into AMC. We're back into Clover, as we got a big bid down there at the bottom on Clover, putting us back into the money on Clover. Ford, big win on Ford as it's back to the high side there. Facebook now 40 cents in the money. Trying to get flat on Facebook here. That's not going to be a winner. If it comes back to the downside, we can make some money, but for right now, it's okay. $1.25 in the money on Netflix, looking to get out here, $636.50 or so, right around there, if that can happen. And that's it for me, man. So it's been a good day so far. The only stock that we're going to be red on maybe will be Facebook, and then we've got to wait on Clover, but we just did get a bottom pick there on Clover, so this may be worth getting out again if we can get back to 8. I think that would be a nice one. 797, that's where I'm long, so that's long right here. I like that trade. Let's get some out if we get back to VWAP, and then hopefully higher than that if Clover starts to go. So Clover picked up some bids just as we said we would.
Yeah, I'm not fighting Moderna one more time. That'll be negative for me. Unless I see something really, really good setting up on Moderna. I don't see anything just yet, but DAX is getting to that 1250 level. We talked about this one looking at least relatively strong at one point, then it got the flush. It didn't quite get to that 1050, but it was probably close enough that I should have had it, about 1070 or so, that it made a bit of a bounce. Now you're looking at this 1250 from the pre-market. Also go back into last week. This is 1250 to 1290, this little wick that you see here. That's going to be an actionable short, but I did get into PTGX off that high one more time, so that's it's not a new position. I was already in it once. In it again, finally getting it off the high. Here comes a firm back to the upside. So I talked about liking a dip closer to that 132 range. It has checked up a little bit and is trying to get back in towards that high. We've seen this story before where a firm will do a little bit of a sell-off at the open, and then make an absolute run. So you want to make sure if you're shorting this off up here, you have a bit of a stop. I think 142 is going to make some sense if we get back to that 140. And then if it breaks that, your only level is going to be the all-time high, right? So put that one in there and think about it. And think about where your stop needs to be. In between that 42, 47, I think it's sort of crazy to just sort of hang on or average into that range if you're shorting it. That's nuts. I think that's nuts. It's way too strong a stock for that. Alibaba has now firmly broken that 167. to the downside, looking like it's holding a bit of an offer below. I'm already in front of 165, so no matter how far this thing goes, I'm looking to cover in front of 165. The market is strong. I still think that the story is not necessarily finished with the recovery here. Alibaba, it's got a long ways to go. I think a pullback or at least a check back makes some sense to me. I'm kind of looking for it to make a bit of a bottom at that 165 first. If that were to break, goodness, I'll be a little bit shocked there because, Alibaba's was so strong last week. I want to see it put in some kind of a support level for sure.
Yeah, we talked about Alibaba pullback, and so good short. We definitely are I'm favoring that for sure, and I know Neil's already short, so we don't need to worry about that. Ford right now just taking out some tops. I don't know where to get out, but we will get out of that at some point. That ATER running around as well here. So far, Apple, AMC, DATS. Just to talk about AMC, so it is only 10 cents against me, NBD, as the young people say. But I'm going to wait for 36 to come through again, so we're no averaging into this one. If we're going to have a winner, I can't just keep buying it all the way down because it just won't work out, right? So we got to wait until we get back into here, take a shot at 36, and then see if this holds 36, 35, 60. If I start buying, when I'm out of the money here on 10 cents on AMC, that's not going to work out good for your boy. Oh, but what did work out good? Oh, hell yes, sir. But we don't have enough diamond hands, but we are spitting out the cash there as it comes out at 36. I thought I had a 36.50 bid, so my bet on that one. But look at Netflix, man. Just cashed out again. 633 bid all the way upside. That takes out 638. Jeez, Sean. That was a $5 winner, but we threw that one away. So there it goes, man. That's why I was looking over. I was like, how come I just made all this money? But there it goes to the upside as Netflix just took me out. So wow, okay, a good trade there. Wish we would have held out. I thought we were holding for 236.50, but again, I must have had a 236 there even. So out of that one. Hey, but you know what we'll do, guys? We will take the $3 winner on Netflix because, again, if you were watching early, and welcome, and again, happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. I hope you're watching at home with your family. That's what you should be. And if you're working, I'm sorry about that one. This is my wife right now. Yeah, thank you for supporting me, but you don't have to sit here. Look at this, flossing the Trader TV, showing the TV off right now. Watch something, deserve it. Watch something nice. Don't watch us on Trader TV Live. You should be sick of me by now anyways. So thank you to Marissa for the continued support, obviously, as she's just unbelievable. So thank you for that. AMC coming back. SoFi still taking out tops. Ford still making new highs. I was looking at something before I got distracted by the wife there, but we'll see what's going on. CEI, let's take a look at that. I want to go short CEI. Yeah, I actually want to go short CEI. So I know that we could defend 150, but this break, we'll have to see what happens here. I'm going to hold out for the short. But, that's what else just happened there. Clover, hell yeah. And we'll give it back in a second, Neil. Clover right now, nice move to the downside. Yes, sir, we picked it up. And now we're starting to rain it out there at O's. So we'll see if we get a little bit higher than that. But Clover right now, we're at the highest spot we've been at all day, guys. Let's rock and roll.
One thing to keep in mind for CEI that I want to make sure everyone realizes, when I was long this thing in front of $2 last week, I was long at 03s, and in a blink of an eye, I was short at 192. So I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive with how I play this 155 level in terms of if it breaks, I want to jailbreak out of this thing if 155 were to break that level. It was ugly. I said in the trade of the day, I had never really experienced anything quite like it on a stock that was usually so liquid. So as I look back to that 155 level, I don't want the same thing to happen where suddenly I'm getting slipped by 8 to 10 cents and shorting it 10 pennies away from where I would have liked an entry. It ended up working out because the short was absolutely fantastic. But let's just, I am long. I got it at 58 here, but be very, very careful around these levels. I was shocked at the lack of liquidity when it broke that $2. If the same thing happens at 155, yeah, I do like the short down there, but I want to make sure I don't cover it at 140 or something ridiculous. BABA just put in a bit of a bounce, so I don't know, maybe I looked a little bit of a gift horse in the mouth with this, thinking 165 for sure. It's trying to bounce off this 165.75 or so. So consolidation a little bit higher than my target. I think we can hold out a little bit here because the momentum is pretty clean. You can see it stair-stepping back in, and it does have a long way to go, at least in terms of what it did last week because it was so strong. Brendo, what's up?
Not seeing much on this yet as far as news, but GRNQ, big volume here, little penny stock. This one's popped up a few times in the past on the short side of things, but 12% here for Green Pro Capital.
Hell yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute, but check out just happened on AMC, baby. So we also went long at the high of the day there, 37.20. Now we're cashing it out there, 37.35. So wow, this has just been an exploding day for me here, and just super happy. Thank you for being with us on this Thanksgiving, man. Didn't think we'd have enough energy today, but hell yeah, everything changes when you see moves like this. So nice little move upside for AMC. We'll take out a little bit there, as it's going to be almost my number one stock on the. It is going to be my number one stock. Netflix is still, but AMC with a huge pop here to that upside. So we did cash them out right there when that popped up, man. Good move there for AMC. So we got to get some out so we make sure that it is a profitable name for us here today. The only one that's going to be negative is going to be Facebook. We took profit, then it came out, got hit, so now we'll go long. Clover, I mean, yes, sir. Watch out for your monitors. Bang, that's what happens right there. Follow us, man, and we'll take you to that promised land. As today, it's going to be perfect day for me. A lot of good calls there. The only thing that we stumbled on was Facebook. Those were pretty light, but we'll give some money back on Facebook. But there goes AMC, nicely moving to the upside one more time. So it doesn't look like we have a great spot because we have 37.21s on board now, but you guys know that we were long here, long again. So let's just get some more out on the upside, but AMC right now, rocking and rolling, guys. We're cooking with gas on the show. Trader TV Live, join it, bring it. Let's go.
Yeah, once CEI breaks 160, like on a trade like this, I'm gonna layer out of it literally 5-10 executions from 60, probably all the way up to 70, but I did start getting out of it there. 160 had a refresher. It got taken a second time. Now we're headed to the upside on CEI. We're heading back in on PTGX. I'm not even bidding until this gets at least to that 34 area. And again, I know that's like a couple of dollars away here, but this stock has already shown you a $6 range. I'm willing to risk a couple of bucks at the top here, so I want to make sure I'm making a couple before I take anything out. Alibaba continuing to hold that low, but it does feel like 165 was the right area. I don't want to get out of this too early. And the thing about Alibaba is, if you've got something where you have a nice direction like this, and I sort of talked this through with Arun when we were trading Cassava Sciences, especially when the market decides to go the other way on you, where it shows a little bit of strength and you have it to the downside. Sometimes you want to allow it to test back up and extend further. And at this point, because I had 65 as my out, if it were to break that bottom with the market sort of going the other way, you kind of give it some more room. So I kind of want to hold on to it through 165, allow it to test that level just because it happened to hold out in front of me. Now, if I had taken nothing out at this particular point, I certainly would have already covered some. But I also want to take you guys back to a firm, which I said be patient with, and I'm trying to do the same thing. It's kind of holding this 140 level. Look back to 42, and of course that 147 all-time high. But it's showing a lot of resistance at that 140. Probably worth at least one shot. That if it tests 140 and fails, you can probably try to get a 40 or 50 cent stop trade in front of that 140. Although I still like that 142 a little bit better. As I mentioned, CEI. I'm going to start to get some shares out. We talked at 155. Now it doesn't actually get there. It goes to 156, so like a penny away from it. When it bounced off of it, I took 58 when it came back up. It's now holding higher. I'm going to have offers all the way into VWAP just to make sure that we're taking profit on this name. It is in a downward trend. Make no mistake about it. You guys can sort of clearly see that here. And we're just playing off that support level, but I have a stop the whole time because after what I saw on Friday, when this thing breaks the key level to the bottom, you'll want to make sure you get your out. It can drop like an absolute rock. It even has the threat of halting because remember, it doesn't have to move very far in terms of pennies for this stock to halt on you, right? So that 155, as much as this trade is bouncing and working in the money, in the back of my mind, all I can remember is Friday and how fast that turned.
Yeah, exactly. So watch over CEI. Good talk there about some of the risk that's involved right there. Look at Ford, man. If you can't beat them, join them. Out again, long. So now we're 70 cents in the money on the long side here, where we were just 70 cents in the money. Now it's 50 cents in the money as we touch 330.50 there. So be very, very careful. Needless to say, if you do have some of these trades on Facebook, it is bouncing back, forth, up, down, and around. What up, Mr. Wickens?
ALLO, one that we were looking at last week, guys. Allogene. I remember 2 big days to the downside after an FDA ruling went against them. If you remember from last week, 3.5% here, trying to bounce on decent volume as well after that high got taken out from ALLO.
Okay.
Sometimes they do find that they kept bouncing, filling those gaps on ALO. I wanted Enny's on the NASDAQ. I want to make sure I add that to my quote board. That's another one, and we say this over and over again. Make sure you keep names on your list. that we talk about that are actionable the week before. And again, there's always one of these. It's not like that'll ever change because you can't cover everything, but any would have been another here. Look at that clean break at 710. Worth mentioning, the stock has already kind of put a move in and faded pretty hard. So yes, that 710 breakout looks really, really good. But look at the lower high here at 790 that it put in just a couple of weeks ago. It went to 12 and came back, and it has not broken out of this range yet. So that breakout looks fantastic on the 15-minute. I think it probably runs out of steam a little bit here at that $7.90 cent level up to $8, and then we'll see what happens. PTGX continues to try to test, you don't care about the daily chart there, continues to try to test VWAP over and over and over again. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go and draw back my bid because if it takes out this 35, I think it's heading down to at least 33. So I might want to get a little bit more juice out of that break before I take anything out. I'm not ignoring the fact that it hit a 32 bottom a couple of times here in the pre-market. It had a breakout at 7 a.m. at that 32, then a bit of a bottom here when I was sitting in the short, a couple of bucks in the money, and it couldn't break 32. So you got to take profit on a short in front of that 32 level for sure. A firm, which I was just talking about before, that does turn off of 140, but it broke first. And this is the trouble with that trade, is if you're looking to catch a failed break, sometimes you're going to miss out on it. I wanted to wait for the pre-market high of the day. If you just took it in front of 140, sort of welcome to $1.50. Like I said, I was being patient with it, and might have bit me a little bit here being patient.
Okay, we're not too patient with AMC as we got pretty aggressive with it when we saw it starting to move to the upside. So we took a long there, we took another long, but we've just been getting out here 39s, 35s, things like that as it looks like it's starting to come back in a little bit. We only have 20% of our position left on our total position. So it had some problems up here at 37.50. I have an offer there waiting to take it out. So I do believe that we're going back up there. I just wish we would have got some more of this, man, because Ford has just been an absolute beast. 1504 bottom there, right off these pre-market bottoms. Off of Friday's bottoms there. So we took those, and then, great trade. Unfortunately, we were waiting for 1490. That didn't come through. But we still have the SoFi. Our Facebook is still rocking a little bit here. It may come back in. This is, we went long here off this level. So we'll wait to see if that's, again, Friday's bottom. We'll see if it continues to go as the NASDAQ's still up that 0.53%. So we definitely like these names, but needs to come back in just a little bit. People saying AMD going crazy. I mean, whatever, man. This AMD has been an idea of mine for a very, very long time. And we were buying this at 50, at 75, and then we did sell it when it started to crack on the daily chart upside. Yeah, that's right. You're not going to be able to see the daily chart. But on this move up, it was kind of going meme crazy there. It was all over socials and stuff like that. So when that happened, we were able to get out on the way up. But right now, it looks like it's already made that beautiful bottom. And just like Clover, just like a few of those other names we talked about, Palantir at 22s. There are some nice bottoms down here, 99s and 100. So I don't know. We're just at the 50 period right now for AMD. I can't wrap my head around that there's a big, huge move coming in the market. So if there was, then I think you can have your money in a better spot than AMD. But for now, I like AMD. It's just, on a 20-minute, I still think we got to get to 108. I mean, I'd probably be shorting up there if that does happen. It's been a big run. Like, how high up is Netflix now? Don't tell me it's 340. Okay, so Netflix comes right back down. So, thank God for that, because I would have been a little bit upset if we kept on going. We already gave up that $2. But so far today, Netflix, my number one stock. Netflix, AMC, and Ford, all my top stocks. SoFi's up there as well. Just wish we had more shares. So that's that right now. It's 10:20 already. Wow, how time flies. Let's go back over to Brendan at the big screen and talk about a small cap stock that it looks like Brendan nailed that on the short side. I'm waiting for that to come through as well. What's up, Brendo?
Hey guys, small cap time quickly. Let's jump into CEI first here. Got below this level from late in the day on Friday, right out of the gate, and then retested it, failed again at 65. If this gets down to 50, I'll be done with it if I'm not still standing here. CEI, though, nicely in the money there on the way back to the downside. CCXI, this one was pretty tough out of the gate this morning. Again, a little bit thinly traded, big range, so you got to size down a little bit on this, trading kind of $1 at a time. But this was 39 at the top end of the range, got down to 36 on that flush. I got out of the way, thankfully. This thing ripped all the way up to 42, obviously. I'm just giving this now, back in this again, back to this kind of resistance area where it broke down from. So if it gets back above that, I'll be done with it. PTGX, going to be a negative one for me. Took a couple of shots at this, trying to get back below 32. 32 corresponds with that level from very early on. We get all the way back to day highs. I just don't buy this move. I think this is way too much given the news today. So if this does start to break back to the downside, I'll revisit. Decent volume though, guys, still for PTGX. Back to you.
Yeah, I'm with you on PTGX. Well, of course, I'm actually back into this one. And DATS, back to this level, should go 15-minute chart so you can see it. Up to that $13 level, $12.90 to 13. It tested it once. It made a break of 13 even. Short in front of it, tight stop. And whenever I get a fail break at a level like that, it's a re-entry when it does a fail. So it wicks up to 13.08. I get out. I then jump right back into the trade when it failed it at 95. I'm going to get bids in front of this cluster here at 70, one which just filled there. And then we're out and take some more shares out in front of 12.50. And then from there, looking back towards this 12 level, I think DATS has support down there and probably gears up for another long. So I want to have as much covered as possible in this 50 to 70 range, then more shares out in front of 12 even. But again, this is why when in doubt, zoom out. You're not going to notice that level if you look at your 15-minute chart, $13 even dollar level. But hey, support, breakdown, resistance, and then again resistance here on DATS. We want to make sure we hang on to this one if it continues to flush. But CEI, we got some profit out, but here comes that 155 looking like it wants to break here. It's on the bid, holding for now at 155, but I'm not going to miss this fill the way I missed that $2 one last week.
All right, Superman is in the building one more time as AMC. What's up, Ape Nation, man? This is what we're doing on the show, man. I mean, the kind of run that we've been on has been absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, we did get everything out there at that 37.50, but wow, what a run for that. We told you we were being patient for CEI, so now we're short. Right now, bang on CEI on the short, guys. Get that money coming through. We got to get out, but there's the short on the 150 break. Let's go. We talked about this one, man. Wow, what a day. What a day to trade. It seems like this, I say that every day, and that's always a good thing when that's happening. So there it is. We'll start to get some out now on the CEI break, and boom goes the dynamite on this one, man. We were very, very patient. We waited for the short and cashed in on that one. So yeah, I like I keep saying, I cannot believe the kind of success that we've been having lately here on the show, and I hope you're having it in your account as well. And there it goes. Adios, amigos. The cash cow that is CEI. I think this is my #1 stock over the last little while. Keeps coming in, and just Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. I hope everyone is short CEI as we're going back to the downside. And by the way, CEI, good stock. How about Clover? Bang on that one to the upside as well. That's been a good one. Oh yeah, how about SoFi? Let's go, SoFi. SoFi at the day's high as well today. 1760 for SoFi. We still have that one. Let's go, man. Cashing in all over the place now. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. This is a big one. I hope you're having a good Thanksgiving. What up to all of our Canadian friends?
Yeah, 100%. But guess CEI 140 is a big level. You've got to be paying attention to your levels here. I got about half my trade out on that reversal there at 140, but you pull it right back into the 15-minute. Go back to the day that we tested this. You had a 140 top on the 6th. You then had another test of it in the morning right at 9:30 where it rejected 140 and then a break. Technically, it was 141. So to anticipate that it was going to have that same bid, it's got to be in your back pocket as well. It's also exactly a 10% move from that 155, which we talked about, these 10% moves and resisting that last week. So make sure you pay attention to it. I think 140 could be a breakdown a little bit later on. I'm hanging on to the short because once CEI goes, I want to make sure I have some more profitability if it continues to flush all the way downside. Of course, we still have that PTGX, which I know Brendan just mentioned. Not on the Amex there. It's trying to pop back down. Now, I pulled my bid back a little bit, and then, of course, it does this. This turquoise line is me bidding in front of 33.50. That's it bouncing in front of 33.50. So having missed out on that, I want to go ahead and sort of take it at 34 and bank 250 on that trade, but then hang on to the low. If it tests 32, I want to hold through a 32 break and then see if it can't flush further. So going to get back to positive on PTGX if that does happen. That DATS trade, we also talked about this one to the south side. Why didn't that flip? We only got the first fill at 1270. Now it's still consolidating lower. Has a chance that it could take out that high. I might want to get a little bit more aggressive with the bid, catching 12, call it like 1260 or so, instead of looking at those 1250s, because that's putting in a bit of a sign of strength here. Alibaba also bouncing back to that 167, though firmly in the money on the short side of that trade. But it's CEI that I think is going to turn into, and I hate to say this, but you know, when CEI did this, on Friday's action, this is what the chart looked like when it broke the 2 level, and the 155 not totally dissimilar here, and it ended up just falling all the way into this 155. So put in a big move. If 140 goes, you're looking back to this 1.25 mark. So I want something on board. I want to be net short if it gets to a quarter, whether that's via catching more shares on a 140 break, rounding into more shares on a pop back into 155, 160. Either way, CEI is now turning into a short. We tried the long trade. We were able to scalp a couple of pennies off of it, but CEI did exactly the same thing it did at $2, and I played it exactly the same way.
And there we go, guys. GME right to the upside like AMC. And yeah, we don't have diamond hands as wow. 38 and change. I'm glad we have this AMC trade. And I'm glad you guys probably still do as well. I was not expecting this. Obviously, you always got to, you should always put out a little bit there for AMC and then try to hold some. Unfortunately, I didn't do that. I wish I did, man. AMC is still a very, very top stock for me. But there it goes, AMC, GME. And here's just a quick look at GME before I go to Brendan. Like, this is also flying 190 right now as some of these meme stocks starting to go. So let's just hope they switch over to Clover, man. 70 cents in the money here on SoFi, 30 cents in the money on Facebook. I haven't tweeted anything out yet, but I'll start to tweet out some of these charts as we go, man. It's been such a big day for us. So welcome to the jungle. What's up, Brendo?
Big strength in oil, as we mentioned this morning, guys, but news here for Halliburton as well. And this VoltaGrid entering a multi-year contract agreement for some work together. So Halliburton, I just noticed 5% day highs, just broke $25 there on a huge volume spike for Hal.
What the actual? So thank you. First of all, thank you, Brendan, because you are the GOAT. Oh, where's my Brendan GOAT thing? I don't know where it is. Anyways, we'll hit this one. I can't find the Brendan GOAT, which he usually is. But this happened when Brendan was just talking here on DATS. I feel like every single time he opens his mouth, like something happens on one of my stocks, usually positive for me. But it spiked to 13, rejected the high again, and then filled me at 60. So I said I was going to get more aggressive and put my bid in front of 60 instead of 50. And then look at that positive fortune by actually having that bid out there. Sometimes you got to make sure you take those profits when they're in front of you. CEI, like we said, if it tests higher, I want to see if I can't short the pop. Now, it's worth noting, like when it made the breakdown last week, it tried to put in a bit of a bid initially at about $1.80, came all the way back up to 198, 199. So I would anticipate there is a chance it can come right back into that 155 for a reload. It was just as good a short catching it off that 98, 99 as it was getting the initial break. So given the fact that it didn't fall as far in this particular time, I would then anticipate that the 155 might not be quite as good the second time through. Still holding that 140 level. If I get back in, I'm looking for like 5 to 10 cents instead of looking for a much, much bigger move. That could always be a 140 break that comes in a little bit later for us. SoFi, I think we can hang on to that one so firmly in the money. And then that PTGX, which we're sitting basically still as our second trade here. We did a stop out 33 up to 35, so lost just under a couple of dollars. Get back in off the high of the day, 36.5. First leg we're going to get out for about $2.50, and now I want to see it break this low at 32 and then test 30 even. So that plan of action looks like it's going to be pretty secure, at least for now, although things can always change. You mentioned checking in on one of Miss V, who is still in lovely Vancouver on her holiday. One of her favorite stocks, and that was Starbucks. Well, she likes Starbucks, the company. I don't know whether it's one of her favorite stocks, to be honest. But Tesla certainly is. Tesla just broke down below VWAP, just took out 795. Another rejection of 8 even. It's up 1.2%, but it is sort of coming off the highs. When I look over at the ES and the NASDAQ, and they're both pressing through highs. So it's kind of a mixed bag here for Tesla. Yes, they're up, but showing some relative weakness, and once again breaking down off of that 800 level, which is proving to be pretty significant resistance for Tesla. If it manages to hold that 790, that price that we like, let's see if it can't make another run. 790 is going to be the key. If it can manage to hold that level, I'm looking to see if it can't take out that 800 one more time. But if the market can't break through, we're sitting here 14.9 over and over again in the NASDAQ. If the market can't break through, then I don't like a breakout again at 800.
Gotcha. Yeah, me neither. Let's wait to see what does happen there on that breakout. But I mean, Tesla's obviously a good stock, so we're always watching out for Tesla and where those movements are going to come from. So let's watch out again for them on that low side. So Tesla trying to make some moves there as well. I apologize for DATS, guys, because we should have been long there at 12.20 on that break. We talked about it, ripped all the way to 13, which we talked about as well. So good trade there, but you should have had it. What's up, Brendo?
Yeah, DATS with monster volume again today, guys. 10:30. That means coming up in about 15 minutes. Great guest coming through, driven by STEM, a vertically integrated cannabis product company and technology company coming through to talk about what they are up to lately. So heads up in 15 minutes. In the meantime, that is what Europe looks like. We'll pinch it for Miss V here today. The FTSE about 0.5%, very mixed board. 0.2 for Germany there, France as well, basically flat. So all over the place, guys, over in Europe so far.
So remember we talked about being patient with a firm, bounces off VWAP, now it's testing high. Here it goes once again. I mean, I'll cancel my 132 bid if it drops like a rock, $9. I don't know if I want it like that. And when it gets towards this pre-market high, I'm holding off, waiting for like 140, 150, 141, something in that range before I get back into the short trade. And speaking of gift horses and mouths, this Alibaba, which I said 165, it got to 165.5, still in a nice downward trend. What's working for me is I think the fact that the market is checking up at this range. I mean, 4,400's got taken on the ES, but we're still finding resistance on the NASDAQ at 14.9. And as long as that's the case, hopefully some pressure will come into BABA for the day trade. Well, sorry, for the day trade here, I should say. And I want it to go up long term. I got to take this out if it gets back down to 166. It's showing enough of a bounce here, and it's right at that 50 period on the daily if you were to check it. Then I'm going to get in front of the bid, in front of this lower high in Alibaba, take this trade off. PTGX we can hang on to. A firm I'm going to try to get into. And then CEI, I mean, I thought this would come a little bit closer to 155, that breakdown price. For now, it looks like 150 wants to hold here. I'm not going to do anything to it. Like I said, I actually still have half the position from the break at 155 anyways. So I see no reason to maybe add down here. We can always wait for it to test that 55 on the way back up.
Like Facebook's been dancing around here. What is Netflix? Is that still? Oh my God! What a call! This 633. Wow! Straight to the upside. We don't have this. We don't have AMC either. Like we're going to be red on one stock today. One name at all is what we're going to be red on right now, and it's going to be Facebook. And it doesn't even look that bad. It's just basically it's paying fees and going back and forth. This was that last one that we tried. We did get $1 on that, but hey, man, like if we can start the day here, you know, after a big weekend, super happy to have had. Oh, and this is what I wanted to show you guys. We went to, someone was asking about my Palantir hat. Here it is right here. So we actually went to the zoo. Went up to the Toronto Zoo. It was such a fun time. There it is. There's the Palantir hat. So what's up, Trader Brad? Someone said that they thought I lost it at the Blue Jays game. I did not. There it is right there. We went and saw some goats. Toronto Zoo was a fantastic trip there. But yeah, man, I'm tired today, especially after yesterday was a fantastic Thanksgiving at the Katina household. So shout out to everybody. I know my brother's watching as well, so shout out to you. And then, of course, it was great to see my parents and so on and so forth. So needless to say, Facebook was going to be the only red stock we have on board today. And that's, I mean, for me, that's fantastic. We'll do that. So we'll hit the air horn. And I hope you guys are having a very successful day as well. This is why, man, we emptied out of CEI. Like, we only have that very small amount left. You can get back in. It stopped going down. I think there's still a chance it goes down, but we can get the rest out here if it breaks back above this 155 area. But right now we did empty out the majority. I hope you guys can see this. We emptied out a whole bunch down here. We didn't get any very bottoms because we did think it was going to go, but then when it started not to go, we just started getting out, man. 48s, 49s, 50s. So, you know, that's how we stay positive on these kind of stocks. And that's it, right? And people ask, how could you have 12 and a half years of no negative months and no negative days in September and no negative days in October? It's profit taking, right? And you do give up some of these upsides. Like I gave this up on AMC. Could be infinitely more money. That's what I'm talking about. It doesn't matter that you're positive every day. Like if your negative days are minus 1,000 and your positive days are up 2,000, then you take that ratio as many times as you can. And in that situation, you'd be taking greater than 50%, right? So that doesn't matter. Manage your trades how you want to manage them. And at the end of the day, as long as you're bringing home some cash, really really, guys, that's all that matters. So bring home that money. We've been doing that for a long time. So hopefully you guys are starting to do that, if not already doing it. So congratulations, everybody, day trading with us, man. If you can't tell the passion, I love this, and that's why I'm here.
100%, guys, and that's what it's all about. Look, it's bringing home the bacon. It's also doing something that you love, right? Because when you're trading, you're your own boss. But that means when you're your own boss, it means you got to be accountable to yourself. If there's no one else that's going to sit there. Well, I mean, we sit here and talk about sort of our ins and outs, mistakes we make, and grow that way. So you can learn from others' mistakes, but you're only accountable to yourself. As I was chewing that out, I just tried to get 141, finding that resistance on a firm. Where I was getting with that is you've got to have some level of, you have to have your own rules. Obviously, we talk about that all the time, but you have to have some level of patience, because as I just got that 141 fill into firm, last week, I probably would have already been short at like 139.5 here and sort of risking too much up to that high at 142.25, right? So instead, today, a little bit more patience. I'd say a lot more patience, because I probably would have taken at least a couple of swings on a firm at this particular point. In this particular case, I've taken none. I just got it the first time at 141 here. We'll give it about $1.25 because the current high sits at 142.20. If it breaks 140, I'm definitely taking some profit out in front of VWAP because it bounced there before, and it's still a relatively strong stock, guys. So you got to think about, not just what you want to happen, but what has been happening on a firm, which is just an unbelievable run to the upside. Not quite to those all-time highs. It tried to get there on Friday, but I got the fade on it right now. PTGX, that one continues to try to come back in here. And then this SoFi, not ignoring the trade, but the last of it, like we said, just sort of let it run. SoFi is slowing down, right? You can see it up at the top here a couple of times at 1765 to 68, putting in this high. But the trend is pretty strong still, and I still think it has a chance to get to 18, which is my last target. Brendan?
Not sure how, but one I don't think have mentioned yet, guys. Tesla having a nice day here today. 1.15%, just coming back into prior support around 795. They said on the weekend. First cars out of Berlin set to roll off the line in early November, guys, for Tesla.
Yes, sir. Well, we kind of mentioned Tesla. I just sort of said, the market, and this is a NASDAQ. Like, I'm not, oh, there it is. Yeah, this is a NASDAQ right up at this 14.9 range. If you put up like a minute chart, this is a 60 minute, by the way, so you're going to see it basically holding this forever. But if you put up a minute chart, it's been finding resistance at this level for quite some time. And without this going, I don't love the notion of retesting an 800 break on Tesla. I mean, it could happen, and I'd love for it to happen to Tesla, but at the end of the day, I want to make sure the market's going with me on that. SoFi, if it does this much longer, say holding 1750 and then putting in this current high here at 1770 or so, that'd be a great consolidation for a further break on SoFi. I don't know that I would change thinking that 18 would be the out. I think you got a fantastic dollar move, and I've seen SoFi play those quarters and 50s before, and if that's going to be the case, then that dollar also works as well. So watch out for that SoFi. If it does want to pull back here further into the quarter mark, it still has a chance to hold that on a dip buy. I did miss the last one because I was looking for something closer to that 17.10 to 17 range. But until it tells me that we're wrong, I don't see too much of a reason to get out of it. I do see some reason to get out of Alibaba, though, as that's creeping back down towards these lows while the market is trying to hold these highs. So I'm going to take the profit and run. If I get any closer to the 166 area, I'm kind of 10 cents away here on the bid, and my better sense is telling me that I could just cross the spread and get out of it right here. Just lock in the profit on Alibaba. I wanted to take it off this 166, and again, it's trying to barcode here. If it does make a break of 165.5, then you can always just sort of take a breakdown trade into that 163 that I think it was Dan McIsaac was talking about.
Yo, what up, Dan? What up, everybody that wants to trade some DATs with us here today, as DATs is breaking out higher, and we just took DAT winner right now. So there it is, man. We're raining down the cash. All we're sort of doing, like I said, man, this happens every day, man. It's just stacking up the cash. It's just putting the cash and then putting one bill on top of another and then letting them drop down just like that graphic. But there we go, DATs. We're out at 2/3 already. We're just taking 20 cents on that play. We'll see if we can hold this for a long time. But DATs right now taking out some tops. And the reason why we're getting out is, you could see right here, we've already sort have made these highs before. So we've already been in this area here, 1314, 1450. So the next spot for me, we'll see if we can take out this 1450 here on DATS, but another big win here. So hopefully we can continue the momentum to the upside. Now, DATS, man, the saga continues. Nice little win for us on that one. Clover, yeah, nice on Clover too, man. Clover's starting to take out some of these tops too on the 20-minute chart. We're already long on this one. You could see dip, 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 dip. It got all the way up here, man, to 1815. Probably should have taken that out off the 790 bid, but wow, big time movement to the upside. Everything's going quite well for us here today. Needless to say, we did average into our Facebook. So again, this stock not going well. Looks like it's going to break down below VWAP right now as the NASDAQ pulling back in. So watch out. There comes Facebook. Facebook's going to get cracked one more time. So yep, we're going to have one red stock today, and it will be FB unless it goes up, which it doesn't look like it wants to do right now. But we'll get ready to throw it over now to Brendan. I like that board. I like that board a lot, Brendan.
Yes, indeed. It is quite a positive looking board so far today. Here we go. About 0.5%, guys, for the S&P to the upside. I'll focus your attention over here because it's energy and material stocks that are actually leading the way so far. FCX had a couple of different minor headlines along with it, but 7% almost there for Freeport. NUE as well, up 3.8%. Mosaic's here. Halliburton, we talked about, 5.6%. SLB, HES, FANGs there, MRO. All the typical ones having a great day with oil up again. ENPH in the semiconductor group, 6.5%. AMD's here as well, 1.7% to the upside. But outside of the semiconductor group, there is some weakness coming through in tech. In the software names here, you can see quite a few in negative territory, but the group itself still higher on the day. We'll slide over to the banks. Earnings coming the middle of the week. We'll kick things off with some of the big banks here. So the entire sector here in positive territory. Just worth noting quickly, consumer discretionaries, Gap and Etsy, 2.5% each to the downside. Right beside that, Lowe's, BBY, and Ulta, 1.3 to 2% to the upside. So we're kind of evening some things out. Travel names are strong today as well. Back to the upside after some weakness at the end of last week as well. LVS there, 2.6%. Overall, though, nice rally right out of the gate this morning, about 0.5% for the S&P, guys. Back to you.
Gap, huh? Yeah, I mean, Gap, that's a name. That's pretty weak on Gap. Didn't really notice this happening to this particular one, and that's a name that we talked about. I think we talked about it last week at least. That if it were to break this level, I mean, man, Gap down at 1950, if it breaks this 22.5. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but relative weakness here. You can't ignore it. Could be a bit of a value. You don't like the momentum break, at least on the 50 period there, making that break to the downside. Here comes the test on a firm. Now, the market just turned. Well, when I say the market just turned, here's the context. It pulled back about 40 or 50 points, but off that 14.9 area. So if it was true about Alibaba, it was true about Alibaba, or at least about Tesla, that if I didn't like the market, I didn't like the break at 800 with the market not breaking out of that 14.9 level, well, then certainly when the market looks at least a relatively weak there on that turn at 14.9, well, then I'm going to like this retest of the 142 area, this pre-market high, and that failure to maybe add to my position. Now, it hasn't done it yet. I know we're basically, trying to hold a bit above it. You get a bit of a break. It got to 142.5 almost exactly. So I'm going to hold off at least for now into adding to this position. I see no need to rush into it just yet. But with the market starting to come back in here, that could give the juice to this trade to give a potential added entry point. And that PTGX holding 34s looks like it was probably the right idea to get out of some shares here at that 33 area, but it is holding VWAP. If it were to break 33s, remember, I don't want to get out in front of this 32 level, the opening range. This feels like Brendan said, too much too soon, or too far too soon. And it could certainly fade back in. It got up to 100% up at one point, but if this takes 32, I do think it's falling down to 30 at least.
All right. Yeah, on that note, it looks like the market is coming in a little bit, so we will take one more spot out on Ford. We didn't get anything out at the very top. We were holding for more. We were holding for Friday's high, which for some reason you can't see right there. Here it is, 1550. So we were holding out for that. It doesn't look like it's going to come out, so we'll take 1527 there off of one in, man, and multiple out. So one in on Ford. It's very, very similar to the SoFi trade. We had one in early, and then we took a dip buy. We tried to get the dip buy in Ford, missed it. But right now, SoFi looking like it wants to maybe crack a little bit lower as well. So we will get out here if it breaks 1750. That's coming very, very close to that position. So SoFi will come out at that point. CEI, we did average in. So we waited for this. So far, so good on CEI. But this last average in at 58, now not looking like it wants to work. So we break out through 63, man. We'll be gone on this one. And again, this is how we stay positive. It's like not taking big hits, making sure that we're right on stocks, and then just adding it up, hopefully, at the end of the day. So we're going to wait to see here. CEI does look like it's going. Congratulations to all of our AMC bulls, man. Air horn that one out. That was just a monster trade there for AMC as it's getting ready for our interview of the day. It's getting close to 10:45. PaySafe finally starting to get off the schneid a little bit here, up to 720 again. Whatever. Hopefully we saw the lows there on Palantir. Hopefully we saw those on Palantir for sure. But there's 705, 720 coming through. So a nice little bump up here for PaySafe. Got to clear 750. Then I think the horses have left the stable. If we can get through 750 on PaySafe, then I like it. I like it a lot more than I like it now. But one thing I do like is getting over to Brendan with our guest of the day.
All right, guys, thanks so much. Yeah, driven by STEM Holdings with us today. We're happy to have Adam Burke, CEO of the company, to talk a little bit about. All right, guys, thanks so much. Yeah, a brand new application, a brand new platform on the delivery side of things in the cannabis industry, launched recently. Adam, great to have you. First of all, thanks for doing this. Tell us about the platform, first of all, and what that means for the industry going forward.
Absolutely. Well, Driven by STEM is a vertically integrated cannabis company, right? Cultivation, extraction, edibles, distribution, and retail. But what we're so excited about today is our app just launched Friday in the Apple App Store. So now consumers in California and Oregon, where two of our largest platforms are, can actually go into the App Store, download our application, and buy through our e-commerce and delivery platform directly to their doorstep. Super excited about this. We're able to access over 170,000 of our consumers in the California market, and we're able to access all of our consumers in the Portland market today. Soon we'll be in Eugene, Oregon. Soon we'll be in Salem, Oregon, and then we'll be moving very swiftly across the country.
Yes, we had a minor audio issue there at the beginning, Adam. We apologize, but just to recap, available now in the Apple App Store, this brand new delivery system. Maybe just recap that one more time.
Absolutely. So our background is cultivation, extraction, edibles, distribution, and retail. But what we're so excited about is our application is now available in the Apple App Store. So people in California and Oregon can now log into the Apple App Store, download our free app, and then actually purchase cannabis directly through the app with an in-app store purchase. So we could deliver it directly to your home in California. We're accessing 92% of the state population. We have over 250 drivers, and you're also able to utilize the application in Oregon today in Portland. Soon we'll be expanding throughout the entire U.S.
This platform came with the acquisition of Driven, so a delivery as a service company, if you will, DAAS. Let's talk a little bit about what this acquisition means and what that company really brings in.
Absolutely. I mean, my background is online food ordering. So, from my standpoint, once COVID happened, we saw buying behavior completely changed for consumers in every industry, including cannabis. People no longer wanted to go to the dispensaries. They wanted to make purchases online and have it delivered to their home. So we saw about a year ago what Buddy and Ganja Runner and Driven was doing. We acquired that company just after the new year. We knew it would be a perfect fit for our consumers and a perfect fit for our platform.
So we said vertically integrated. So there's more to this business than just the delivery platform. But let's talk about the cultivation side of things, because multiple cultivation sites now up and running as well.
Absolutely. So we have 5 cultivation facilities in Oregon. We have 1 in Nevada. We're building 1 in California. And once again, we're going to be moving across the country. We have Massachusetts underway as well, under construction. We have 3 marquee cultivation brands: TJ's Gardens, Yerba Buena, and Travis & James. So those are our 3 marquee brands. Top shelf flowers, you can see, that's a Travis & James packaging, really high-end packaging, outer boxes, beautiful glass jars. But it's more than just the packaging. It's great flower on the inside. Good inputs give you good outputs.
So another acquisition recently made by the company, Artifact Extract. So just to correct myself there, but tell us about that acquisition and what the company acquired with it.
Absolutely. We've been chasing this acquisition for about 6 months now. They have a tremendous extraction team based once again out of Oregon, but we're going to be expanding this IP completely across the country. We picked up some phenomenal machinery, great artisanal extract brand called Artifact. But in addition to that, we also picked up 2 new dispensaries in the market also. So one in Salem, one in Eugene as well. So great team, great assets, another great tack-on acquisition from our team.
The ticker, guys, STEM on the CSE here in Toronto. Obviously, it's Thanksgiving, so the market is closed today. But STEM, the ticker, guys, on the OTC QX as well, STMH, driven by STEM. Thanks for doing this, Adam. We appreciate it. Have a great day.
Great. Thank you, guys.
There we go, guys. Check out STEM, STEM, tomorrow on the CSE.
Another fantastic interview. Thank you very much, Brendan. Yeah, I mean, like we said, it is a Canadian holiday. Oh, Canada, why not? We do still have, before we get out of here in about 10 minutes or so, we still have memes and movers, which are coming through. Ms. V, as we have mentioned, is still on her well-deserved vacation. Trader Pratt is here. We'll, of course, be checking in from time to time, helping out a little bit in that regard. I just got out of, like I said, I got out of the Alibaba, made a fresh low, 155 on a dime, so it does go to that 165 target after all, but catches a bounce here, so watch out for that bounce happening in BABA. If it breaks this, maybe that 63 level that Dan was talking about. Dan McIsaac, thank you for pointing that one out. Like I said, it was relatively strong at that moment, but profit is profit, and I wanted to make sure I locked some in. Affirm went all the way, and I'm talking about almost exactly to my bid. You're going to see I was sitting in front of 140.65 here, just about. Goes right down to that price and then takes a push right back into the highs. Now the market is still fading, well, the NASDAQ, I should say. The NASDAQ is still fading off of that 114.9 area, at least for now, showing some signs of trying to get back towards that top. If this is taken out at 14.90, I don't love being in that Affirm trade, so you might see me trim or get out of it if we were to break that high, even if Affirm isn't doing a heck of a lot. Like if it's still flatter at the money, I would still want to take it out if we're breaking that 14.9. And now that we're testing back towards the highs, it does put back into play for me. Tesla, which we mentioned, it's not at that 800 again. But it is trying to get off the bid. It just bounced off of 791, so close enough to that 790 area, and it's trying to get back to the upside. So if the market does take out that high, head towards that 15,000, maybe this is the time we follow through on Tesla through that 800 level. It's had some trouble with this, I'd say almost half a dozen times. One of these times it's going to get it and stick, and you want the conditions right to take that breakout. I want the market with me, as I say every single time.
Yeah, we'll exit out and take a hit there, so we'll flush ourselves down on the last part of our CEI trade. We tried to average back in, so basically now we're flat on CEI, so we gave back in again in the vein of truth here. We are always going to tell you about our trades, and there we go. I'm flat now on CEI, so that was that. We had a nice winner. We put it on the board, and then we just thought that it would hold VWAP. It didn't. I mean, it's right here, but again, if you're, and just as I'm saying, trade your own book as we go, but at the same time, I'm comfortable taking this, and I'm near the high of the day for myself, so we'll take a little bit of a hit there on CEI, just in case it just starts to go upside. Just don't need this day turning around. So we'll look at CEI one more time here, especially if it does break back down below, like this 158 or so. We can get back into this name short, but we'll take it out and be flat on CEI today. And unfortunately, took it all out at the bottom, but that's okay. That always does happen. Not always, but sometimes happens. SoFi resists that break, and so we don't have to worry about it, but it does come all the way back down to 17.55. And again, maybe just take some profits now. We've already done this, man. SoFi is a big stock for me today. Netflix is going to be my #1 stock. AMC is right there as well. So a few stocks going well, but SoFi, a nice one. Look at these bottom picks, and then we have this 1767. So we'll wait to see if it takes out the tops. We really do like SoFi here today. Clover got going and then stopped. So again, just holding out for the last little piece on Clover as well. We're just talking about some of the positions as we're getting ready to wrap up the show here. So that's CEI, Apple. I know you're on Affirm already. BABA down to, again, I said too long. Yeah, I said too hard, too fast, whatever on BABA there, a little bit to the upside. But you could see nice move up. It was just at 138, guys. So when it went to 172 in 4 days, probably a little bit too much. We did talk about that coming in. I want to be a buyer of Alibaba, but not until much, much lower. And then Ford got nervous on the market dropping down a bit there. So we did get out a little bit more on Ford, all around the same area here, waiting to see if we drop below 1525. But again, our long is right down here at 1505. So so far so good on Ford. I think that's all we'll do, man. We'll just hold some of these plays and see where we go from here. But so far so good today. It's been a big one, and we're excited for memes and movers coming through as well.
100%. And I mean, I kind of looked at it. It's probably splitting hairs here. When I look at 165 and the initial dip on CEI, and then I'm just looking at my other chart here. But I ignored GameStop today. I know you traded AMC, and you got to be on them when they move, but GameStop put in a 175 to almost 190 breakout potentially. Well, not potentially. Yeah, I mean potentially, because it could still get to that 190 mark if it wants to hold up here. If it pulls back in, which it's already starting to do, I want to, when in doubt, zoom out. It's already broken back through this key 185 area. You look back towards 180. I think that's probably a safer place for a dip buy than sort of trying to pick it up here and get a little bit too greedy. But, you know, sometimes when AMC goes, GameStop goes, it doesn't mean it's going to be true. This is not a lot of, here's the problem. It's not a lot of volume on GameStop. It's only done just over 1 million shares, which makes it hard for me to believe that it's going to actually follow through to that 190 level and more likely that it breaks back down. So let's see if that 180 comes into play. What you'd love to see if you're buying the dip down here is a little consolidation, maybe even breaking and stopping out, some 180s there, and then a little volume pickup, 1:30, 2 o'clock, power hour, whatever it might be, and then reclaim that 180 level and catch some volume in the afternoon. But volume absolutely dwindling on GameStop, as I noticed it here. You guys can't really see that, but I can do this for you. I mean, volume absolutely dying. Yes, it's putting in a higher low right now, but these volumes, it's lunchtime, it's fading off a little bit. I would wait around for a 180 level. That looks a little more significant to me. So I'm sitting in that affirm trade. We're patient to be able to get that one in. CEI, I got 58s on the reload. A 165 looks like a key level there. We'll see if that fades back in. This PTGX, we've been hanging on to. I usually don't expect to be sitting into these like the ones that gap 100%, and I think if they take out the high, they could halt. I'm not usually thinking I'll basically be sitting in one of these all day long, let alone 2 trades, and it's not really moving. So the longer one of these things holds out at like a 32, I know it's in the money right now, but I'm sort of going over worst case scenarios here. The longer this thing holds out without breaking this 32, the more likely it takes out that high. So if I'm sitting here at 11:30 and we're still bouncing off 32, between 32 and 34, I'd consider taking the trade out at 33, bagging $3.50 on the trade, and then if 32 goes, you can always just short it at that range, like take the breakdown trade in that particular vein. But this one holding up and showing some signs of strength, but like Brendan, I kind of think it's gone too far, too fast. So we'll see. I'm going to hang on to this one to the south side and see what happens there. I didn't get back into Moderna because I'm one and done on that bad boy. I don't like it to the long side, but we'll revisit the short if it tests any higher. With about 2.5 minutes to go, I'm pretty sure, I'm fairly certain that Trader Prad said he was going to look into what
he's doing the day it is.
Yeah, find out what national date is.
Yeah.
We can do that after we come to you, Sean.
Yeah, of course. Look at Nucor, guys. Raise your hand. If you bought some Nucor at these levels, man. So we'll floss that off again. We did a video on this one on my Nucor buy, $95. We just tweeted it out last week. We got out of some of that Facebook. We talked about that at 3:30 after buying some at 3:25 and then realizing that the whistleblower might be a little more serious than we thought. So right now we are into Nucor at 95. It's at 102 or 101.60 today, but a nice little bump up there for Nucor. So that was a good one, man, for sure. So we like that. We talked about AFRM taking out the high when we wanted to get long. So we're going to look at that if and when this thing takes out its previous high of 144. We definitely like that. But so happy with this Nucor buy. It was a recent addition to my portfolio. So we bought some Nucor and then we bought some PayPal at 260. I have no idea actually where this is. Right here. So you can get into PayPal if you want as well. 260.50 or so. We bought into that one. That's still down. So PayPal not really working. Nucor working, and then Facebook still flat. Those are the most recent buys. And of course, we bought some PaySafe. We bought some Clover down below as well. I wish we bought more SoFi. And we'll talk about buying some Alibaba on our afternoon show. But when we are ready, which I think we maybe are right now, with the what day it is, and we'll go over to Trader Prad. You're going to see him in a minute anyways. But what's up, Brad?
Yep. Hey guys, how you guys doing today? I hope everyone's doing good. Today's national day is Native American Day, October 11th, Native American Day. Yeah, there you go.
We had Truth
Truth and Reconciliation.
Yeah, that was a couple. Not last Friday, the Friday before that. So that was a new one. I think that was September 30th, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's going to be a national holiday for us. So I don't know if that was there for you guys in the U.S., but yeah, definitely, obviously, something really near and dear to Canadian hearts as well as I'm sure it is you guys in the U.S. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So fantastic.
But I mean,
awesome...
what day it really is Thanksgiving. So
I'm
not sure why that didn't hit.
In Canada, obviously, it's Thanksgiving here. Clearly, when I know Thanksgiving is a huge deal in the States, like you get the sales, you get everything. So, you're not going to celebrate it with us. We had a fantastic Thanksgiving as well. I went up, visited the in-laws. For U.S. Thanksgiving, that's more about football for me and some Black Friday deals. But certainly, when that does come around, you guys will celebrate it. We're back at 3 o'clock. Of course, it's going to be Power Hour. But we're sending you over to Memes and Movers. It is Trader Prad. Miss V, wherever you are, continue to have fun. See those whales. Bye, guys.
Welcome to Memes and Movers. I'm your host, Trader Prad. Miss V still not here, but should be back tomorrow, or Wednesday, I think. So a couple more hours left for her to enjoy her vacation. A couple more hours for us to miss her, and then when she's back, we get to enjoy her beautiful vacation stories along with her on Wednesday. So hope you guys come back to see Miss V's face over here 11 o'clock Wednesday, but I will still be here tomorrow for you guys.